No. He just he could, but
Oh,
maybe he wants to join us. I don't know.
he wants to
He's
praise
in the
Matt
thing. All right, we should
Stafford
be
in the
live. What's
public.
up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Playmaker podcast. We took a week off, but hey, guess who's back? Back again. Nate is back. Balls, tell a friend. Brady's back. Brady's back. Def is back. Def is back. And if you like the Bulls, everybody say, hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy Deafness with my crew. We're back. We're recharged. We're refreshed. We're here to talk sports, and we're going to be talking a lot on the Super Bowl. We're going to give you a lot of our predictions, our playmakers for the Super Bowl as well during this episode, talking about the MLB, NBA, and whatever else we got lingering in the backgrounds. We got a big UFC fight, I believe, this weekend. Is that not this weekend? We got a big UFC fight as well coming up this weekend. So we got a lot to talk about. We'll even talk some bets. We got our special Nate, who's always always dropping his bet lines. So we're gonna dive into some things. But I'm gonna let my guys give their introductions as always. Balls, how you doing tonight, man? How you feeling?
I'm doing good, man. I don't know if anybody watched any of that Pro Bowl game yesterday, but God, that was awful.
Yeah, we're talking about
NFL needs to do something about that. But no, man, looking forward hopefully to a good competitive game on Sunday. And we're picking up sports wise now, fellas. We're gonna start hitting some hockey talk here soon from Balls. It's gonna be coming finally. Jim F's gonna join the show for some NASCAR talk. I don't care. I'm gonna make him join the show. But no, I'm in a good mood, man. How about you, Brady? Brady, you're up next, man. How you doing tonight?
Good. Jim Harbaugh is staying with the Michigan Wolverines, which makes me happy, I guess. It was
still trying to figure out what happened there. I don't know why.
It was one of those things where
Minnesota, just seems so weird to me.
Seems
like he got cold feet at the end or something. Like something just is weird about that whole thing.
I don't know what it was, but Michigan fans we give Jim Harbaugh crap for not winning the games and everything. But when it was coming out that he was potentially going to take the job if it was offered, I kind of got sad because I think he does make that program better. But other than that, it's been a good week for me. It was a good weekend last weekend. So excited for the Super Bowl, excited for our chat tonight.
So now, Brady, you're supposed to say, all right, Nate, what's up, dog? How you doing, man? Nate, how you doing tonight?
Nate doesn't need an introduction, man.
That's
got
right.
enough for himself.
Everything's been good. Like I said, we had a Pro Bowl, we had an NHL All-Star game. Speaking of NASCAR, the Clash of the Coliseum was yesterday as well. So that was a pretty good race. I was able to catch some of it. But we got Super Bowl, we got tons of Super Bowl props that you can get into. So yeah, I'm definitely ready. It's definitely gonna be a good show and a good week coming up. And last but not least, Def, what's going on, man?
Not much, man. Not much. Just trying to get through my days here, man. Trying to, as Rambo once said, or the old Sylvester Stallone when they asked him when he was walking off after his long, vicious battle of going up against a whole army, and his lieutenant asked him, "John, how you gonna live?" And he turned back and he said, "Day by day." That's what I'm doing. I'm going day by day, one day at a time.
Deafness is that Popeye's worker on the bench with the head down. I don't know if you guys know that meme that I'm talking about, but that one, that's what you are right now.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. It's a crazy world. So, guys, and that's another thing. If you guys don't see me very active, on the social platforms and whatever, not a lot, don't take offense to it. Don't whatever. It's just that I'm just running with my head cut off right now with work and whatnot. So, trying to dive it all in. And we haven't talked to Nate or Brady about this yet. Me and Balls were talking a little bit when he got on backstage, besides the whole Kobe White trade talk, Brady. We were talking about possibly looking at maybe changing it on a different day if it'll work for everybody, and it might actually benefit just everything and everybody. But we'll discuss that on the back end. So we may look to possibly change up the day if it's going to work for everybody, but we'll make sure it works and whatnot before we just go changing things. So we're going to first, before we dive into anything, and I think what I want to go is I want to talk about that Wagner card, but I want to first go ahead and do the giveaway like we always do. So we got to do the giveaway for the last video for the comments. Balls, go ahead and take it away. Tell them how they can get involved in this.
Yeah, well, to be entered into tonight's giveaway, you had to comment on our last video. But tonight, after the episode ends, you guys will go back on this week's episode once it uploads and leave a comment. You know, I saw a few people that left the score, their prediction for the Super Bowl. Appreciate that. You know, we're going to talk some prop bets. Let us know what prop bet you'll take. If you're to gamble, put a little bit of coin, a little Bitcoin on some bets. So, yeah, just leave a comment after the video uploads or, you know, a question, a topic. Yep. You know, we really like you guys to leave a question, topics that you might want to hear us discuss. Really helps drive the show for us. And, you know, we try and go through all of them and give it a little bit of a discussion. Maybe one person answer it, but
right.
You know, after the video uploads, just leave a question or a comment and you'll be entered into the drawing.
And you can always leave more than one. We usually have people do, which we appreciate. The more the better, the more the merrier, I guess. And I do just want to say real quick, I think Michael Weber's been around the community and the channel for a while, but I think it's one of the first times I've seen him on commenting on the podcast. So we appreciate that. All the normals that I always do, we appreciate you as always, but I like to point out people that are new faces or new names that I see. And there's an Adam Lily said, great podcast. Keep up the good work. So shout out to you. We appreciate you. Somebody being new. You know, we got our normals, which we appreciate all you guys that always hang out in here. So here's what we're going to do. We got all of them. I already have them, up here. You know, obviously, again, you don't get entered in twice. You don't get entered in 5 times. It's one time. So I'm going to shuffle. We shuffle 7. We always do the lucky 7 here on the pod. So we're going to go 7 times and we're just going to spin it where it lands. You win. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Tim is on the top. Your old Pops was on the top. It's the shuffle. Allie Lily, a first-time commenter. So, Adam, reach out to us. You have to let us know who you are. But congratulations, you won.
I'm wondering if that's my boy Adam Lilly. It might be my boy Adam Lilly. I'm not 100% sure. I've never even told him about the podcast.
Oh, really? Well,
but I know
him if this YouTube thing is Adam A. Lily. It's like Adam and A and then Lily, but A Lily's together.
It might be him because he follows you from way back when you used to break, man. So he's been a long time follower of the channel.
Man. I love it. That's awesome. Yeah, reach out to him. I mean, I don't know. Hopefully he'll see it. He should be watching it so he can reach out to us. So I don't know what his Twitter would be. That's the first time, like I said, I just actually shouted that out. We were reading the comments, seeing it was someone new. It's their first time commenting. I think that happened to Nar U78 too last time, didn't it? Like he wasn't commenting or putting it in the comments. He was doing it in the stream. And he's like, why am I never in the list? And then he finally did it correct. And then he ended up doing it. That's weird.
Nah, he just texted me. That is him.
Oh, it is?
Yep, okay. That is him. Adam, thanks for watching right now, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Thanks for the comments. Thanks for being a part of it. And thanks for, just being here and being you. So, guys, let's dive into first things first. Let's talk a little hobby, all right? Because we don't spend enough time in the hobby sometimes. We don't really talk about it. It kind of gets sometimes pushed to the side. And this is supposed to be about the hobby as well. And again, if there's anybody out there, as you guys are watching, you guys want to join this, you want to get on with us, we're more than happy to have you on. Just let us know. We can drop links, whatever. We can email it to you, text you, DM, whatever. But Balls, there was a card that sold for quite a bit of money here just recently. Do you want to touch on exactly what that was?
Yeah, I don't remember the exact figures. I shared it in the chat group because it took my breath away when I saw it, but it was a TT
475K.
475K for the T 206 Honus Wagner, right?
Yes. Yeah. So it wasn't complete?
No, ripped in half. And still sold for almost $500,000. What are your guys' thoughts on this? I know it's one of like the staples of the hobby. It's not only the staple of the hobby, but if you're talking like antique collectors, they may not be a big hobby collector, but that's a part of American history that card's from, 1906.
Right.
You could have collectors of that time period that really want to get that card. What's your guys' thoughts? To me, it's crazy. For that much money for half a card, I feel like it's nuts. But man,
so I guess let's try to balance this out. So we have that card. We got a half a Honus Wagner card, right? For just under 500K. What's an equivalent card, like an equivalent iconic card, right? Very iconic in the hobby that we could get for probably around that price. That would be maybe complete and not torn in half. And then I guess you'd kind of look at that maybe as a way to compare, if you were looking at a very iconic card or getting your hands on something authentic that's very iconic, what would you rather have, right? So, like, could we match up like say a Mickey Mantle, right? I mean, what's a Mickey Mantle going for right now? Like the iconic Bowman Mickey Mantle, the 52 or whatever it is. Anyone know anyone's jacked lately?
I guess it just depends because Tom Brady, after his retirement, just had a card sell for $2.3 million.
Right, and that will be an iconic. I mean, I guess you could say it's an iconic card, but I'm trying to speak more terms like because this is such a rare and unique card, and it's something. Even though these Brady probably 10 refractors, etc., are probably low pop, but I'm saying like in terms of time, it's been around, right?
You're saying comparable vintage,
right?
Comparable
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Not just like because there's tons of cards. I mean, guys, we see prospects, Jason Dominguez, Wander Franco's before they're even in the big leagues, even swinging a bat once for the bigs, selling for 50, 100, 200K, depending on what the card is.
Actually, Jason Dominguez actually Jim Evans said in the comments that sold for about the same as the Honus Wagner recently.
Isn't that crazy?
A 1-on-1 superfractor graded, I think 10.
Okay, so
let me see. Yep.
What would you rather? What would you rather have than even in terms of that, right? I mean, obviously, you would think there's obviously going to be a ceiling, more of a ceiling for Dominguez because he still has not yet to step foot in the bigs and play. But this is a good topic to talk about. I think we can spend a little time on this, actually, hobby related. This is something that I always question and ponder, right? What is the cap for a prospect, or what is the ceiling for a prospect who has not played a one swing in the bigs, 1 inning, 1 minute, right? They played minor leagues coming up, prospect, maybe not even the minors yet. Maybe they're just getting into the minor leagues, but they're graded super high, like Wander was, Dominguez is, etc. Where is that cap? And then what do they have to do once they actually get to the bigs to maintain that or even have a greater ceiling with value on the card?
I can tell you what the cap is for new cards.
Throw it out there, bud.
Mike Trout, Superfractor, 2009 first Bowman, $3.9 million. Now obviously you have to turn into Mike effing Trout, but
right, but was that the price when he was a prospect, not in the bigs yet?
No, but none of these.
That's what I'm getting at.
There are people that are flipping stuff quickly, right? That's some of the stuff that I've talked about, right? When we talk about Bobby Witt this year, like the time to buy Bobby Witt was last year and this fall, because the second he gets called up, his prices are going to go up, and then he's not going to hit 70 homers in his first week. So they'll go back down.
They're going to drop.
And then you'll have people buying here and hope that he turns into a perennial all-star. I think a lot of this newer card stuff is just as much investing, right? And it's either quick flip or long-term holds. If you think you can make a quick dollar, maybe you don't go and buy $500,000 on a Dominguez. I'm guessing that's a long-term hold with that investment, because no matter what he does, right? If he's any sort of decent level prospect, it's going to take him 2 to 3 years to get here. And the more the hype builds, the more gradually that price is going to go up.
Yep.
So that's just the way that the hobby is working right now. But when you have, after he comes up, that's when you're going to have to hold cards way longer than when a lot of these guys are buying in right now, looking at a 2 to 3 year window as opposed to like a career window, right? I think Deafness, when you started talking to me, right, when I first started coming in the hobby, you talked about LeBron and how this is this gradual incline because it's a career thing now. It's not this flash in the pan thing.
Right.
So that's why
he could get hurt, career ending, and it wouldn't matter. He might take a tiny dip, but then once he gets in the Hall of Fame, it's going to be back up again.
Right. So that's why I think there's two different avenues. And I think that's part of this Wagner, this honest Wagner, right? Because so I just looked up, there's only 60 known in existence. So you're talking about 60 total of cards.
6-0?
6-0, yes.
Okay.
And the highest sale ever was a $6.6 million sale. Obviously, that's a complete card. It was graded by SGC as a 3. But I think this in general, this type of card is an investment piece for an antique collector. And thinking about the scarcity and like these things when one of these gets found, it's ginormous news. So these things are not popping up. So in essence, in their head, $475K, can I turn that into 7 or 8 in 10 years, 20 years? So that's I think why the price is driven where it's at. But I don't disagree that if I had $500K, I'm not going to go buy this card specifically because that's not what interests me. But there are people there that have interest in it. So
I guess, and you touched on a lot, Brady, and I appreciate it. The one thing I'm trying to figure out though is like, I know we can't answer this, but this is what always drives me, and this is what always makes me ponder. And it's tough for me as a collector to be a big prospector and go after prospects because again, if they're at a high, right? If they're at a super high price point, like they're just, you got the 1 or 2 guys that are above everybody else when each year Bowman draft comes out, Bowman Chrome, etc. Right? You got the few names, the few big names, and then you got all the other guys that people are taking chances on or just hoping. But when it's already so high, when the value is already so high up there, and they haven't done anything yet, and even if they come in and they play well, right? Do they ever, if they take a little bit of dip and up and down, how often do we see these guys actually juice up like over what maybe their max or their ceiling price was when they were hyped up, when they were just a prospect, right?
Almost never.
Exactly.
So we're talking about the exceptions when we talk about Tatis, Acuna, Soto, some of those guys.
Ohtani.
Ohtani. I think Ohtani was down big. People forget that. A lot of people invested in Ohtani. He got hurt, struggled a little bit, and then went down. Same thing with Vlad, right? Vlad didn't ball out his rookie year, so people forgot about him.
Right.
I think we're going to see it a little bit with Wander if he starts out hot again because his prices tanked afterwards. After he didn't tear the entire MLB on fire the first 3 weeks of the year or after he came up. So I think you could see a quick recovery, right? Because like you have that offseason hype of players, like for whatever reason, like Kalenic's prices are going back up and he hasn't done anything yet, but that's more
There's
yearly.
a lot of hype for him though.
Right.
Like,
that's more yearly
right now for him when the season
That's
starts.
yearly changes in the hobby, not as much specific player changes. But you're right. It's always the guys that we're talking about that are faces of the MLB. They are the exceptions. They're not the rule. Because for every guy like that, there's a guy like Nico Horner or some of these young, like average rookies that people love them because they're on their team and hope they turn out well. And they might be decent MLB players, but you need them to be stars in order for the hobby to be driven enough to have their prices go up significantly.
And it's crazy because you say that. I just had a name pop into my head thinking, Dominguez, that card sold for a ton of money. Go look at a guy like Miguel Cabrera. Miggy had a great career, one of the best players, or even like David Ortiz.
Right.
What's David Ortiz cards going for? Probably not even close to what the hype for Dominguez is. And it just kind of,
it's like backwards.
It's weird. Yeah. And I think that's what your point is, Steph. This is where the money allocation is. And I think that plays into Brady's thing is it's that quick flip, that pray for the quick flip. So you see that that inflation, that influx on the front end side for those prospects, because it's gambling, it's playing the lotto. And it's just weird that a lot of people put their money into that, where you're not going to see maybe the boom or bust with these established players. But if you would have invested in a guy like David Ortiz, back when me and you first met,
right,
you're probably sitting on a decent profit right now from that.
Mm-hmm.
It is really, it's a very interesting topic there alone. How the hobby has those two different sides and how they kind of play off each other at the same time.
Yep. Yeah. Always blows my mind. Nate, you want to chime in on anything? Or are you good on this?
I guess one thing I could really say is that, like, for some reason, hype sells in the hobby. Literally, like, if any player has hype regardless of sport, see with basketball, Zion, we came in, his stuff was going crazy, shooting up. NFL, Trevor Lawrence, a lot of hype was coming out. There's a ton of other players that hype sell. Normally, hype sells in the hobby, but like you said, like, you see tons of players, like tons of like Hall of Famers, all that don't really sell for that much. Like in basketball, you get like a Dwayne Wade auto for pretty affordable price. David Robinson, we get stuff for affordable price. Magic Johnson, and then like you see like a young player like maybe like a Kate Cunningham or maybe like a LaMelo Ball, Anthony Edwards. Guys are like they're good, but like they just start out. Their prices are 5-10 times the amount of a Hall of Famer. It's kind of like.
Or even somebody probably like Embiid right now too.
Yeah.
They're probably competing on that same market, and he's going to be a possible MVP this year.
Yep.
Right.
And it's every sport too, right? So like the best time to sell on some of these NFL guys. So for example, if you have Burrow right now, I'm selling this week, right? Because in essence, he's going to lose that. All those cards are going to lose 30 to 35, 40% value in a month or two, even if he wins the Super Bowl. Right, just because it's not that
the hype will be there, and then it'll die.
Correct. Yep. And like Brady won last year, and his cards were going nuts. And then I went to a couple of shows in like the spring after the Super Bowl, and I was looking. I was like, wait, I saw that card sell for X, and now it's 30% lower, right? And so it's like one of those things where if you can have patience in this hobby, it's ginormous. So for me, I really love Cubs 17-year-old prospect Christian Hernandez. He came out this summer. I have money set aside to put some money into him, but I have not bought a single card yet because I know every day I wait, I'm decreasing the amount his cards cost and increasing the potential profit that I have if I buy his cards. So if you can identify some of those natural trends, either with the season, with the hobby in general, with, the hype of a player, maybe it's not the best idea to invest in Ohtani in the middle of his MVP season. Pick a guy who you think has got some, like, it's hard sometimes because we always want it now, immediately, right? We see these guys perform on Sunday. We want to go buy their card right now because we want it. And it's just like, okay, if you really believe, just wait just a little bit, and it'll save you a ton.
Right. So I saw Fester asked, did Miggy or Poppy have Super Refractor first Bowman cards? Well, here's like a BGS 9 Cabrera 2010 Bowman Chrome Refractor for like $25K, a 9. It doesn't say first on it. We'd have to dive through and really look to pull them up, but that's just kind of an example. Like that's a BGS 9 Miggy 2010 Bowman Chrome Super Refractor. Was 2010 his first? Because sometimes players, even through Bowman, don't always get a first Bowman card. Like their rookie, or their first card through Bowman sometimes doesn't say that if it's like some of those from back in those years. Like most players did, but I know that there's one or two guys, like even former Twins, like in that 2010 or 9 or 11, where it was their first Bowman card they had, but it didn't say first Bowman on it.
Chris Bryant has, for the Cubs, his first auto in Bowman doesn't have a first. Brendan Davis is another one who his first auto doesn't have a first Bowman on it. So it's just kind of the way Bowman does their things. But.
Yeah. One other thing I was going to touch on. Oh, yeah. I just want to throw this out here too, as we're still on the hobby, just a little hobby talk. And guys, percentages, numbers, all that stuff can be so skewed. So just take this with a grain of salt. But I was on the hobby hotline again this past Saturday with Mr. James Beckett, Dr. Beckett, and John from the Sports Card Nation podcast. Shout out to those guys. But we were talking about where each sport is like up percentages wise, like in general in the hobby. And football's up like 192%. Baseball's up like 120 or 130. Don't quote me exactly, but somewhere in the ballpark. In basketball, NBA, and we're in season is only up 44%, according to these numbers that they pulled.
This is from last year. When is it? When was it comparing?
This is where it's at as of right now. Like these were just generated like recently.
Yeah,
and
but what is it comparing it to? Like from a year ago? From
yeah, I don't know if it was like through the year. It's got to be off a long grid, like at least a year, a couple years. I don't remember exactly what he said, but we were just showing in general, like where things are percentage wise, and it seems strange as I get football would be up, but we're getting to we're getting to the end here, so we're talking Super Bowl coming up this weekend, and we're talking mid-season NBA and out of season baseball. And NBA is by far at the lowest increase percentage just overall from what they pulled up. Why is that? Why do you guys think there's not as much hype or generation, or I guess around NBA in general in the hobby?
I wonder if the baseline starting point was way higher with the NBA, right? So like for example, if the market cap's 100 million and you have a growth of 44 million, that's 44%. Whereas if baseball was 20 million and they now are at 40 million, so the first thought it goes to is basketball is more of a worldwide sport. You might have more worldwide investors than people who specifically invest in football or baseball, which are very Americanized.
Right.
So that might be what's driving it. But
and here's what I was wondering too, but you would think this would be with any sport, right? And this is kind of one of the things I brought up when they pulled these numbers up is you notice how like they had even Mosaic retail like at Targets and Walmarts online. Like you could buy Mosaic cello, like the cello packs. Somebody had tweeted something like early in the week, a week or two ago, and this was like 4 days later, and you could still go on the Target website and you could still buy Mosaic like retail cello packs and stuff, which normally once somebody posts something like that for any sport, any kind of thing that's like a Mosaic product, Prism, any of those better, nicer products, they're usually gone. They're gone that same day. Like they're wiped out. So is the overproduction like that a lot of people start talking about? Is that really a thing? Is that really what's coming on? Is that what's going on? And then maybe again, is that where we're getting these weird percentages that are skewed as far as the increase in each sport?
I will say I've been noticing it more with every sport. For example, Bowman,
right.
Their retail Bowman mega boxes. I bought a certain amount and I'm sitting on some because Christian's in that project. So I'm going to wait. But I think it's production in general. I think it's a decrease in the hobby a little bit from the high of the pandemic. And then on top of that, companies deciding to produce more product. I think both of those things are leading to product being on the shelves, which isn't a bad thing, but you're right. It's different than what we've seen the last year and a half.
Well, and I think another thing that it's probably production. It's probably price too, right? Because they've raised their price on a lot of this stuff. Like, so now, we're starting to eliminate some of those people who were just in it just to buy all the retail and flip it, when they could get everything, the blasters for 20, they could get the cellos for 10, $11, whatever it was. They could get, hanger boxes, megas for 30 or whatever it might be. I actually stopped into, and I should have picked up a box. I'm kind of kicking myself now for not doing this. Me and my son stopped at the mall on Friday, the Mall of America, and we were there. Like, we usually, the level we park on, we usually go down. We start on the first level, whatever. But there's a Barnes and Nobles right there, and people always, it hasn't been a hidden secret. Like, people have talked about this. If you're on Twitter, anywhere else, Barnes and Nobles is a spot you need to check out. If you have a Barnes and Nobles and you're looking for product, you need to check out Barnes and Nobles in your areas. Also, Walgreens, CVS, a lot of times they'll put them behind the register. Like when you go check out, I've actually seen Prism product there in the past, like in the last 7 months, 8 months. And I get to the checkout, like just picking up some medications or whatever I need. And all of a sudden I look up and I see like blasters up there. I'm like, what? You guys got cards? What? All right, cool. Let's grab some. But anyway, we roll into Barnes and Nobles, and they had the Topps Chrome megas or like the, I don't know, they call them the megas, or they're like the Topps Chrome kind of like blaster boxes, but they're not the size of blaster. They're a little bit larger. I don't know what they really consider them. Do they consider them a mega? Do they consider them a blaster? I don't really know but I asked them what the price was on them, and it was like $49.99. But now I'm seeing all sorts of things of people saying, you see these, you buy these. So that was a big L for me, for your boy Deafness this weekend. Took a big L. How do you guys feel about that?
What football, like like the retail, or
how do you guys feel about me taking a big L? You guys like that, don't you?
Hey,
Everybody say, "Hey, yo!" You guys out there watching, whenever we drop that line or we say that, we're referencing to the Chicago Bulls boy. Ayo, how do you pronounce his last name?
DeSumo.
Ayo DeSumo. So that's like his thing. They should play that. They should honestly do that every time he has like some crazy play or something. The DJ should actually have that set up, and it should be like, everybody say, "Hey!" That would be so dope, dude. Innovating. I'm trying to innovate the game more for the Bulls, baby. Let's go. All right. Anything else you guys want to touch on the hobby? Anything else you want to add to what we were talking about within the hobby?
Well, we're kind of on baseball too a little bit, because did you guys see that the MLB today said no more testing for steroids?
Yeah.
Kind of hypocritical when you're not going to let Barry Bonds and those guys in the Hall of Fame, but hey, don't worry about it. We're going to hit home runs now. So
balls get juiced again too? Are we going to juice
they'll still be testing. They just don't have a player association MLB agreed deal for how they're going to do the testing. That expired this offseason. So they'll have to come to agreement for another one before.
On top of the CBA that they have currently.
I'm sure it'll be part of it, to be honest, probably.
Right. That's kind of what I figured then.
But I am pumped because the Cubs had internal talks about offering Anthony Rizzo a contract. And if that happens, I'm going to walk the block and a half down to Wrigley Field and buy a brand new jersey. I'm so excited. I hope he comes back.
That'd be awesome.
I hope we're not talking about a lockout, though, because it sounds worse.
Did I not predict they will delay spring training but they won't get anything with games involved? And I bet you that's still the case. They'll delay.
Yeah, it'll just be a short spring training or something.
And then you'll hear them all complaining the first 3 weeks of the season about how I didn't have enough time to get this ready, blah blah blah. Yep. And yeah.
I mean, spring training's like what, 7 weeks though? It's way too long as it is.
It's pitchers more than it is hitters, because they have it does take a while to get, your.
So, and I want to touch back on the comment real quick too, because sometimes we don't pay attention enough. Mud Dog, I hope you heard me say what's up to you and everybody else. It's good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. That's why I'm saying what's up. Everybody else that's in here, we appreciate you. Fester says, I should just post it up here. A good little comment here to throw out there from our guy Fester. He says, football had a great class. NBA class wasn't considered that great. Football seems to be more expensive than NBA, like on eBay. And yeah, I mean, that's, obviously we got the Mac Jones, we got the Chases of the worlds, we got, all sorts of. Did you see Mac Jones do the gritty?
The gritty? Yep, I did.
Did the gritty? Look at Balls. He's not having it. You don't like Mac or what? What's the deal? What's up with the rolls of the eyes?
It was the Pro Bowl. Who cares?
All right. So, do we want to talk any more about the MLB, or do we want to?
No.
We're thinking on the lockout. I think I'm kind of like in the same boat where Brady is. The steroid thing, I don't know, man. Like we could. That could be a whole nother discussion. That could be a whole big debate, to be honest with you. There's a lot of ways you can go with that whole deal. I feel like a lot of these players are taking some type of PEDs anyway. May not be specifically steroids, and I don't have anything to prove that. So, I mean, it's just me. It's assumptions, but I don't know. I mean, just the way that some of these guys develop themselves within a few years and how much size they put on and how much they do. I mean, your body in most cases naturally, no matter what you're doing, no matter who you're paying, unless part of that payment includes some type of performance enhancing something, I think everybody's doing something, using something. I don't think that's a secret, but
yeah, I listened to a podcast recently about a gentleman who was part of like the cycling with the Olympics and some of the test. And the biggest thing right now is testing and the drugs and stuff being ahead of the testing. Therefore, when you're doing testing, in essence, not being able to identify what exactly is being put into the body. So that's where I think some of the delay could be, right? In essence, if the technology of the development of these drugs is faster than the development of the testing technology, you're going to have a lag where stuff's going to be technically illegal, but you're not going to be able to test for it.
It's like you guys have seen The Program, right? The movie The Program. That was a classic football movie, college football movie. Latimer, and he's getting his oil change. They're like, "What is this? Just consider it like an oil change." That was a classic movie. Sorry guys, got to throw my little one-liners out there. Got to spice up the night here. All right. Jim F says everyone but Mike Trout with his 42-inch neck.
Yeah, there's been those rumors, right? Where
I'm telling you, that's one guy I've always thought that's on something. I don't know. Again, can't prove anything. We're just here. Hey, this is our thoughts, our opinions, our theories, what have you, our conspiracy theories, if you will, if you want to go that route. Anyway, all right, let's talk some NBA. So I want to actually start with the Bulls have been a big part of this podcast really since we started, because when we dove in here was kind of beginning or start of the season, right? Yep. And I think the majority of us, I bring this up all the time, and I'm going to sound like a broken record, but agree that the Bulls put together a very good team, and I think we all feel can be very, very, very competitive and could possibly go out and be a team to make a run. So DeMar DeRozan, DDR, as my guy Ball's got a new nickname for his boy there, DDR, they call him. He came out and quoted and said that he does not feel that the team needs to go and pick up anybody at the deadline. He feels once everybody is back and healthy, they have what they need to make that run. I want your guys' thoughts on DDR and what he's saying. And I know some of it we talked pre-show was, hey, isn't that what he's got to say or whatever? But in reality, do you guys all feel where they stand right now, they don't need to go out and reach and go grab anybody once they get healthy to make a run?
I think there's two different quick answers to that question. Do I think they could win a championship with this roster? I'm not sure. Am I willing to give up shortening the window to have a shot at a championship this year? Not necessarily. That's where I think Balls and I disagree, right? I just don't know if there's the piece out there right now that's like, hey, you go get this player, you're going to go to the finals and you're going to have a shot at winning it. I just don't see that for them right now. So in my head, I'm just like, I don't know how much sense it makes to trade a Kobe White or a Patrick Williams, and all of a sudden, hopefully a 5-year window turns into a 2 to 3 year window, right? Because Vooch has got this year, next year. Zach's technically a free agent this offseason. So, that's another avenue. You want to obviously show him you're invested to win. But I just don't know if it's something to give up pieces like that for this year. I just don't know yet. And we have to remember, Pat Williams got hurt in the 5th game. So they've been all together for all of 4 games this year. So it'll be interesting to see. They might get 2 weeks at the end of the year where everybody's back before the playoffs. It'll be interesting to see what they're like.
I just want to say quick, what's up, Steven, the reseller? Good to see you, man. We got one of the boys, one of the followers in the building. We got AFB Brett. Brett, when are you going to come join the podcast with us, my man? You can be on here any night with us, any night that we're on. We'd love to have you come talk some sports, football with us. I know you like to get into that stuff. And say what's up to your old man, Dent, when you see him. We miss him. So hope you guys are doing well. Fester says they say the Knicks might get McCollum. Man, the Knicks going out and grabbing people, right? Cam Reddish, now McCollum. But my question with that, seeing this whole comment is, you got Mr. Thibodeau, Mr. Tibbs, if you will, coaching these guys. He gives his starters, he locks them into 38 minutes a game, and there's no time for any of these other guys to play. Right? Now, I know obviously you pick up McCollum. McCollum probably goes right into that starting five, obviously. But you got the Reddishes. I mean, is he just trying to stack up his second unit for the 2 minutes that they play each game? Or what's going on here?
How does the Reddish trade make any sense?
None.
They up a first-round pick for him, and he doesn't play.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Like I don't know. Yeah, I was saying, like, I don't know why they made the Cam Reddish trade in the first place, because like they got tons of forwards already. They got tons of wing players already on the team. So I'm like, why did you trade for another wing player? I guess they made a pair up him and Barrett, so it'd be like kind of like they're back at Duke or something like that. But here we go again with the Knicks trying to get every star player. ESPN links them to every star player that they might try to trade for, sign a free agent, and they never get them. So.
And no minutes.
No
minutes for these guys. I mean, obviously, McCollum would be a piece that would – I mean, I wouldn't imagine you ever go after somebody like McCollum and you just get him and just not give him minutes like you do Reddish. Like, Reddish is a whole different breed, because Reddish is still very young. He's a guy that, it's probably – they're thinking down the road here in the next couple of years, or they're thinking whenever Thibodeau's gone, maybe they can figure things out whenever that might happen. But any other thoughts, Balls, anything? Any take?
Well, I mean, not about the Knicks. I saw a team that made a trade that I thought might have caught your eye. Cleveland. They went and got LeVert, which is pretty interesting. That Cleveland team's pretty young, pretty fun to watch right now. They're young and competing. They're not. I don't see them being a contender by any means, but I mean, that team could pull a huge upset in that first round. I found that one interesting because, I've always been kind of higher on LeVert as well.
I've always been a fan of him.
Yeah, and I think I've kind of watched because of that, and that injury really set him back. But now he seems to be coming back from that. So it'll be interesting, them plugging him in. I don't know what kind of minutes he'll get there. But he's a guy that I think he went off for 45 just recently. That, he's one of them guys that if he is coming off the bench, he might be a six man that, teams have to contend with.
He could easily be a six man. He could easily be a six man. I don't think there's any doubt in that. I mean, and honestly, I think he should be starting on a lot of teams. But yeah, he might just be a better off the bench player where you let him run the second unit and he just makes it happen, right?
I think like a Jamal Crawford type role. You know?
Yeah. So my son actually dropped me that yesterday. Like, I hadn't been on anything, but he dropped the reports, Cavaliers acquiring LeVert, because he knows how much of a fan I am of him. And he said, such a nice pickup. I said, always been a fan of LeVert. Cavs trying to make a run. That's what they're trying to do. Just like everybody. But
it's true. Yeah. Like, actually, go back to McCollum. Like the Trailblazers, they made the trade. They traded Norman Powell to the Clippers.
Powell to the Clippers was another big one. What did he drop? Like 28 points for his debut.
Yep.
The Clips.
Yep. So so I don't know what Portland is doing. So Portland might trade McCollum to the Knicks for maybe like a Cam Reddish and maybe somebody else. Or
I thought there was some words of somebody going to Portland to play with Dame, and was that Kawhi Leonard? Maybe he's out this year. But there was some talks of a big name possibly going to play in Portland with Dame. So maybe this is why all this stuff is happening. Maybe this is why they're trying to get rid of McCollum. Maybe this is – I'm not sure who it was. I may be wrong on the Leonard take as far as who it is, but it's a bigger name that there's been stirred up about to go play with Dame in Portland. There was talks before – season started, Dame going to maybe the Lakers, a couple other places. There was all this talk. But from last I heard, and I forget, it was like a week ago maybe, Maybe my son told me about it because he's big into he's sometimes he's more up to it than I am these days because I'm so busy. But I forget who it was. It might have been Kawhi. Some rumors that trying to get to play with Dame in Portland. So maybe that's what's going on. I don't know. We'll have to see. We'll have to wait and see. Never really know. So I think Reddish might be part of the deal for McCollum. So that's
the only thing. They have to just be, because the Knicks are not good, right? So they just have to be kind of balancing this year, trying to compete versus long term.
They started out great though. That's what's crazy.
Yeah.
But then they dealt with all these, they dealt with I
know Kemba Walker, like he was playing good, and he out of nowhere got benched out.
And he never saw any minutes, like DNP from Tibbs.
And then Julius Randle start playing bad, and then RJ Barrett, he has times where he looks good, he has times where he kind of disappears, and then they got a bunch of different, I guess, issues with the team. But
so let's talk about this real quick. So the Sixers are right on the Cavs' tails, actually. As of right now, Sixers are 32-21. Cavs are 33-21. So they're the 4 and the 5 seed as of right now, above Toronto Nets and Celtics. And then Hornets are trying to knock on the door. The Knicks are way down. They're like 24-29. Didn't they go on like a 9 or 10 game winning thing or something? Like beginning of the season, they were like kind of at the top through like 12 games or 14 games or something. Might have been an easier schedule too. We'd have to look back at it. But Cleveland at number 4 at 33-21. Then you got the Bucks. Then we got our Bulls at 33-20, and then the Heat sitting there at 34-20 in the East. Now in the Western Conference, got the Suns sitting at 42-10. You got the Warriors. They're just hanging there. They're hanging right there at the 2 spot. They're waiting for everybody to come in, get the full run, and try to be right back in it. And Curry's just continuing to go off when he wants to go off, right? Whatever day he wants to cook it up, he cooks it up, man. He drops it. He takes full control. The Grizz 37-18 with Ja. Guys, let's talk about Ja for a minute or two, right? I mean, how amazing is this guy? I was out to eat last Thursday night. I was gonna break, and then I guess one of the other guys that hadn't done it for a really long time, that's one of the part owners in the company, he wanted to kind of break, so they asked if I wanted to take the night off, and I was like, yeah, because I was already planning to have dinner with my girls beforehand anyway, and then I just didn't have to be rushed. We're out to dinner. We were talking about like Anthony Edwards and, like Minnesota, like they get it. They're not super, super sports heavy, the girls, but they pay attention a little bit. And I'm like, yeah, well, have you really saw Ja Morant or just pulled up like a 9-minute highlight of just all Ja highlights. And I mean, my oldest daughter was just like blown away, like just looking at what this guy's doing. Like how insane has he been just playing lately? I mean, it's nuts. It's entertaining. Like it's what we need more of, right? You get the entertainment of players like that just doing what he does. You guys realize he has a 44-inch vertical. That's almost 4 feet. That's 4 inches away from 4 feet. He can get up to the bottom of his feet from the ground. He goes and he runs up. Guys that are 7 foot, almost 7 foot, and then with their reach, put it up, and he'll go up and he'll jump, and you've seen it. He'll fly up top of the backboard and block the ball. Like guys will alley-oop. He can be in the air hanging with his head. He can catch it down here and still be in the air. And then, like, we need him in the damn slam dunk contest is what we need. We need some Ja in our life. Am I pumping Ja too much or what? Do I need to slow the brakes on this or what's going on? I'm getting a lot of...
He reminds me a lot of, like, his athleticism, and I guess it's because I watched the Bulls so much, but when Derrick Rose first came to the league, Derrick Rose's ability to get to the rim was like no other.
Right. Yep.
And, he had some of the biggest poster dunks I've seen on people, too. I'm trying to think of who it was. It was the Suns. I can't.
Goran Dragic.
Yeah, Dragic, yep.
Yeah, just murdered him. And Ja's doing that, it seems like night in and night out. the guy's on another level. He's got the athleticism that like Rose had with like almost the reckless abandon that Russell Westbrook played with. But he's bigger.
But it's not sloppy, right?
No, I'm just saying
Westbrook,
he's got control, way better control. Yeah. But he's got that mentality of like, I don't care who you are, I'm going at you. And I'm going over you if I need to. And it's just awesome to watch.
Yeah. And then like also with Giles, like he's a really good passer too. Like he has the balance of being like athletic and at the same time he can give you 10 assists a night.
Oh
that's kind of like Miguel Parker's. Like a lot of times you see like a athletic guard, like they're more like a scoring guard. It might not be as much of a playmaker or passer. So, and then also another thing is that like his shooting from the outside got better because like that was his weakness coming out. It was like, yes, he can get to the basket, he can do this, but can't really shoot, and he put on that. So I'm like, sky's the limit for the guy. To be honest,
I'm telling you, Nate. I mean, as I know, you like to do the betting on the takes and whatnot.
Yep.
I'll play the prize picks, whatever. I'll do the 10 plus assists on him often. I mean, I'm not afraid to do it. Like I know he's going to go out and get it done. When you talk about that, when you talk about the assists, and you talk about him being able to not only be just insanely creative with what he does with his dunking and getting to the rim himself, but also creative with how he passes and gets it to other people. So I agree 100%, man. Yeah, Randall been slumping. Yeah, Randall for the Knicks has been big time slumping. Like, another name that I bring out there that he shows shades of greatness every once in a while this year, but Jason Tatum, right? Tatum was a guy for the Celtics. You guys probably all would this is another L for me right here. I just might as well confess to all my L's tonight. So I took Jason Tatum over Steph Curry in my season long league. I think I had 5th or 6th pick. I took Tatum over Curry because I thought Tatum was just going to have that breakout year that people were talking about, and I was wrong. At least through the first half, I've been wrong. So, all right, I can admit my mistakes. But yeah, Randall's been slumping. So Jim asked about how does the NBA switch out players because he doesn't follow basketball, which not everybody follows every sport, and to each their own. But he says, do they switch out players one by one, or do they have lines like the NHL does? So it's kind of just they have like different unit. It's not like all at the same time though necessarily. Like they'll 1 player, 2 players. It just kind of depends. And a lot of what that depends on, Jim, too, is like if players are getting in early foul trouble. So, like, if a big man or a player has, like, 2 or 3 fouls, like, right away in the first, 4 minutes of the game, when he would normally be out there longer, he's going to go to the bench, and they're going to get him off because they don't want him to get too many fouls too early where he falls out of the game. So, yeah, it's not quite like NHL. Like, they don't pull off their skates, put their basketball shoes on, like 5 of them, and then go next. Like, it's just that time. All right. Cody, our boy Cody. I know Cody's a big fan of balls. Cody's always shouting out, what up, balls? Cody's got in the comments here. He says, T-Wolves on a tear. X factor is Beasley's production. I got a Beasley jersey hanging right back there. Like that's my main Wolves jersey. I mean, I need to get an Ant-Man one, but Beasley's my dude, man. I love Beasley. And yes, the Wolves, we talked about that a little bit too. We touched on it. They are sitting right now. They're 3-4 games above. They're 28-25. They're 3 games above 500. I haven't seen this in years. I can't tell you when I've seen them be above 500. So I'm doing victory laps. I've ran around the neighborhood a couple times with my boxers, painted my face, with the Wolvie paint, but we're good. All right, great bench chemistry. Wouldn't expect any big trade moves. You talking about with the Wolves as far as trading, or who? I don't know who he was talking about there. I would assume maybe the T-Wolves. All right, Love Ja, most exciting player to watch in the NBA. Yeah, probably is right now. I would say probably the most electrifying, fun, whatnot.
You obviously don't watch Io DeSumo because that's the correct.
Yeah, everybody say "Ayo." All right. We want to touch on anything else in the NBA? I think that was pretty good. You got anything else you want to add? Do we want to touch on NHL All-Star? Balls, you got anything for that? Any stats to report to us were you out there at the game?
No, but the NHL's got hockey. The All-Star game means a little bit more than the Pro Bowl does for some reason.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, yeah,
it's a better product somehow.
And we'll get into that. Like, we're going to transition into football here in a few minutes. I just want to make sure, see if there was anything that anybody wanted to touch on the NHL.
Philadelphia Flyer, Claude Giroux was the MVP of the All-Star game. So, Flyers
Who
are bad.
Who was?
Claude Giroux. He's like a captain on the Flyers.
Okay.
Won the MVP, but Flyers are trash, so it's all good.
Yeah, I'll really start watching hockey after the Super Bowl. I kind of watched the last month and a half. It sucks because the Blackhawks suck, and their ownership, their front office is just awful right now. I wish they'd clean house completely, because their off the ice stuff is worse than their product on the ice, and that's saying a lot. They're one of those teams that, hockey-wise, I'll look back and be like, man, they had Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves and didn't win a title in their last 7 years together, which is incredible. So, yeah, I haven't been watching hockey too much, but I'll be starting here real soon.
Yeah, and I'll get into it too. Like, same thing. Like, I think Balls hit it right in the head. Like, the playoff time is fun. Even if you're not like huge into hockey, playoff hockey is just different. It's just different. It's fun to watch. I'm looking at these standings here. I'm actually kind of surprised that I thought my Wild were better than they were, but they must have been falling lately because they're like number 3 in the Western Central. And I thought they were like one of the top teams. So must have been on a little down spiral, if you will. So Jay Schmo says MG Kelly, Machine Gun Kelly, ruined the intermission at the NHL All-Star game. What was he doing? Sucking on lollipops with Kelly, or what's her face, Megan Fox again? Every time he's at a UFC event, they're sitting there sucking on lollipops. Like,
Eminem ruined that man's life.
Huh?
Eminem ruined that man's life. Don't go at the GOAT, or you will die a horrible death.
Well, what was he thinking? He knows better than that. Yeah. One thing more to touch on NBA. Tom T says Jeremy Grant going to get dealt. So Tom T thinks he's going to get dealt. I think we're probably in that agreement too. Man, I just don't know. He's saying that was enough, Schmo says. What's up, Schmo? Good to see you, buddy. Hope you're doing well.
It is that with Jeremy Grant is like which team is going to be able to trade for him? Though that's the thing, because it's like I did hear some reports about the Bulls, but I don't see the Bulls making that kind of move.
And Mud Dog, appreciate you, man.
There's like a few other teams too that was kind of like connected to Jeremy Grant, but I'm like, I don't know.
Right. All right, I think we can transition now. We'll do the NFL. We'll talk props. We'll talk Super Bowl. We'll talk Pro Bowl, and then we'll after we wrap all that up, we'll hit all the comments and questions and whatnot. So it'll probably be about a 2-hour show like normal. We're at about the hour mark. We usually spend some time in the NFL world, and then all the questions and whatnot from last episode that you guys left. And again, guys, please, after this is uploaded at some point before next week, please drop some kind of question, comment, topic, just anything. Get yourself in there. Get yourself a chance at the 30. Just do it. Do it. Help us out. Give us some more things to talk about at the end of the show. So we always go cover them all out. So let's just start. Let's dive right in. So let's start with the Pro Bowl, since that just happened, right? I'm hearing a lot of awful. I saw a lot of flag football. I saw a little like, this is ridiculous. Things have got to change. So what needs to happen? What do they need to do to get some excitement back into the NFL Pro Bowl?
It needs to not be a real football game. It needs to be skills challenges. Do like a flag football type thing. do something fun where like the linemen get to go out there and play some skill positions against each other. Like this whole football game where it's just like everyone's two-hand touching and not trying. And it's not like you have a bunch of awesome. Okay, the one thing that stinks about the NFL is everybody's in helmets, right? So you get no personality other than like from a lot of these guys. You don't get to know them a lot. And I feel like this would be a great time for the NFL to take the best players in their entire game and promote them. Let's see their personality. Let's see some rivalry back and forth between Tyreek Hill. Like it was cool to see like Stephon Diggs and Trayvon Diggs. They flip-flop positions and when let's have that all the time. Let's do some fun stuff. Like this fake game that they put out there that nobody cares about.
Right.
Like, I'd rather see some more skill. Like they do the skills throughout the week, but I just think the game's pointless. I mean,
right.
I want to see like a lineman skills challenge.
Yes.
Show me that they're like some of the best athletes.
Yes.
Let them go.
I want to see fat guys kick field goals. That's what I want to see.
Let them go catch. Like, I'll be honest, one of the best events they had was the dodgeball because you got to see how athletic those guys really are. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Right. But the dodgeball was more fun than the football game was. And the football game is
man Jefferson, baby. Yeah.
I think they should do like a 7-on-7 there, possibly.
Yeah, do like 4 teams of like do like a mini 77 tournament that day, and or like just like I don't know, something different.
I thought about it. It'd be interesting to see them do like a different sport. So let the linemen
play baseball or something, or
let the linemen play 5-on-5 basketball. You know what I mean? That would be that'd be interesting to see. Let them do something different.
You do bring up the balls, the linemen, like they're getting linemen more involved because you are right. Like I don't think people really realize how athletic a lot of linemen in the NFL are. Like they don't realize that these guys that are 300, 360 pounds can run like a 40, probably faster than a lot of you guys. Like, and they're that big. Like that's just how athletic they really are. And they're just big dudes, but I think it would be interesting to have like getting them more involved, definitely, because they're never centered around enough of the game, right? I mean, they aren't. They never, the running backs try to pay them recognition as often as they can, like when they have good years and when they're doing things, they always thanking them. Sometimes they're gifting them, whatever Rolexes or whatever it might be. If it's a guy that wins a rushing title or is up there, paying recognition to them, but they're never really ever spotlighted because they're never the ones that are really doing the scoring or whatnot. But
I mean, how awesome would it be to see like a lineman run a 40-yard dash against either another lineman, let the lineman race it out, or let like Tyreek Hill run 60 yards and let the lineman run 40 and have them race.
That would be actually cool. That would be entertaining. To see who can win.
Let them do something, or where the teams have to do. I always think of like the military challenges where they have to do like an obstacle course or something. Right. I'm sure they don't want them doing something crazy, but otherwise just scrap it or make it where the coin toss is at halftime for the Super Bowl or something like that, where they can at least draw some attention to it, because I turned it on for about 2 minutes and was like, nope, shut it off.
Yeah, or maybe just have it be a tie at the end and then have them flip a coin and see who wins.
I mean, like honestly, I think they probably should have it like during the season. I think that probably the better thing. But I think they should have Pro Bowl probably during the season, like maybe because like I know the NFL has been talking about like having like a second built-in bye week. That the second bye week have like a kind of like that All-Star weekend kind of feel that like sports have. You can just have it like during like I don't know week 13, week 10, whatever, and like because like all season all the players like they trying to play, like travel somewhere, they're on vacation, and they don't feel like trying in the Pro Bowl. Like, okay, I'm here in Las Vegas or wherever it is, They try to have fun. They're not really trying to tackle or do anything crazy.
Right.
So my suggestion is just have it during the season. I think that'd probably be a little better.
And if they did it during the season, like, you can still showcase even, we're talking about without even having to show the skill players, let the kickers kick off a tee and show how far the furthest person can kick it. How far they can make a field goal.
That'd be cool.
What the furthest punt is, the highest punt.
Yeah, that's what you just brought up. Punter, like Lyman, Alex said, Lyman ? What about the punters? They don't even need to be there, right?
Yeah.
But let them, somehow involve them, even if it means bringing in 8 punters. And in the Pro Bowl game, they say there's no punting at all. Make it 7-on-7, and just let them do that because that's what people want to see. That's what the game was, really. And let the other people do skills type challenges.
Yeah.
Yeah, bring back the old QB longest throw. Punt, pass, and kick.
Yeah, punt, pass, kick. Yeah, like the kids, right? They always
That'd be very interesting because you'd have, like, the quarterbacks are good at passing, but they probably can't punt, probably can't kick.
Right. Yeah, that'd be interesting. That'd be a cool idea.
I feel like if you did it in the middle of the season, though, everybody would just opt out, right?
Yeah.
I'm not. I can get a free week off. I don't have to go there. Okay, cool. We have the Chiefs when we come back. Yeah, I'm not going to play in the Pro Bowl. Like,
right. Wait, Patty Mahomes' brother and girlfriend are going to be? No. Peace. In all seriousness, if anyone remembers the old Battle of the Network Stars, that's a perfect format for the NFL to be fun and show personality. So it's a good take there, Mr. Schmoey. Alex says, how about let them drive the NASCARs at LA and let the NASCAR drivers play a football game?
Let them do
imagine them driving? I don't know that they want that liability of destroying all those cars when they don't know how to drive that fast. Well, some of them are probably decent. They probably are fine at high speed driving.
Let them do American Gladiators.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
That'd be fun.
They need to hire me. I got all types of ideas right now.
There you go.
Hire balls for the Pro Bowl.
There you go. Hire them. Yep. We need a sign, and we're going to use it. We're going to have it up every podcast and every show. Hashtag hire balls for Pro Bowl ideas.
Balls to the Pro Bowl.
Yeah, balls to the Pro Bowl. And then he's going to put it on his Twitter, on his header. It'll be his header thing. He'll be back. He'll be right behind whoever's at the games announcing with his sign. Who the hell is it? Somebody has that. They have it as their, like, header, and they got, like, it signed somebody to something. I don't remember, but it's hilarious. Like the old Superstar shows from the 70s, Tommy T says. Yeah. LA Clash was a joke. LA Clash. Yeah. Kids nowadays
NASCAR race.
What American Gladiator is. You're right. Kids don't know what the American Gladiators are these days. All right. So, yeah, we kind of talked. I think we talked enough about the Pro Bowl. It probably didn't even deserve that much attention, but we were trying to throw out ideas. Balls was giving us some classic ideas that could make it more interesting. So at least we got that. We got the balls for better Pro Bowl takes. All right, Jim F. They had a halftime show at a race. Weird. Yeah, that's weird. All right. So anybody got props up for the Super Bowl?
I see. I got like a few up here.
I could probably pull them up too, but.
Like one prop is that like any scoring drive shorter than the national anthem length.
Yeah, well, they do everything, right? The coin flip, I
was gonna say the national anthem this year. I think it's gone over most years, but the girl that's singing it, the anthem is like at 1 minute 46, which is really short. But they're saying that like. She's known for being a short singer. So, what? All right. First bet of the game, heads or tails? What are you taking?
Tails.
Tails
never fails, though.
Yeah, it's tails. What are the odds on that? Is tails the favorite? Tails needs to be the favorite.
Here, let me just pull up the Bovada.
Look, cause like there's so many Super Bowl props. I'm really seeing that too, but I'm losing it right now.
Let me just pull up.
Was that?
What Bovada has. Bovada. Here we go.
Yeah,
right
there's
now.
tons of props.
So right now, like on Bovada 2, the spreads are Rams -4, -110, -185 when a win. Total 48.5, -110, 48.5 on the Bengals, +40, plus 160. Let's see. Down score markers. Where's the point?
You can do like color or Gatorade.
Yep.
So here, results of coin toss. So it's 105 for both heads and tails. The national anthem is over 1 minute and 38 seconds, -115, under 1 minute and 38 seconds, -15. Super Bowl MVPs, here's some good ones. So Matthew Stafford is +125. Burrow is +235. Cooper Kupp is +600. Aaron Donald is +1,000. And Jamar Chase is +1,500. You almost just bet $1 or $2 on a Jamar Chase. Just throw $1 or $2 in there if you don't want to go big, and just if it happens, it happens. If it doesn't, it doesn't, right?
See, the only thing I would argue against that with the Super Bowl is they're more likely to go the QB.
Oh yeah,
than the receiver.
That's why it's so high. Yeah,
right.
That's why the Staffords and Burrows are +125 and +235, because yes, majority of the time it's going to probably end up being the winning quarterback. But there could be a shot where you get like an Aaron Donald though. Like he's sitting there at +1,000 on defensive end. Like he could have a monster. This could even be a game. We'll see how well Cincinnati's line is, but a lot of people are on the talks of they're thinking, and this is just on paper, but Burrow's going to get kind of slaughtered with his line, with this defensive line. So, and it may not be Donald doing it though. It could be somebody else that's getting there, getting to the quarterback, getting to Burrow. But I don't know. I mean, it's interesting. Any player to have 125 plus receiving yards, yes, -160, no, +120. Cincinnati Bengals special teams and defensive TD scored over 1.5 +700, under 1.5 -1,600.
Yeah.
Cincinnati Bengals to score a safety, yes, +800, no, -2,000. Cincinnati Bengals total first half points, odd. First half points, -115, even 115. Bengals total points scored, odd 120, -120, even -110.
So time out. What are you taking, odd or even?
On the Bengals total.
We're all taking tails. Are you taking odd or even first half?
First half for total points scored for the Bengals?
I'm going to go even.
Probably even, yeah. I mean, odd would be they'd have like a field goal or... Well, no, even a touchdown with extra point would be odd. So
I'll go odd.
But if they had 2 touchdowns, it would be even.
I'm going odd.
I'm going for the first. Let's see, total points. Cincinnati's total points scored.
This is funny.
Yeah, well, the total points scored, you'd go odd.
13-7.
Actually, no, not necessarily, because it's either a touchdown or a field goal, right? Because it's not including the extra point. It's first scored. So it's really a 50-50 if they score either way with either a field goal or a touchdown. Because a touchdown would be even. Field goal would be odd. And safety would be even. So you're even. Your higher percentage is probably even than it would be odd. Even though field goal would be easier for them to do. I mean, that's what they've been doing the whole preseason or the postseason is field goals with McPherson. So can they even get in and score? Or, that's the thing you got to look at. Like that's what you're thinking on. Let's see what else. Any other ones that commercial to first play first. Rakuten or WeatherTech. They're both -115. Commercial to play first. Booking.com or Expedia Group. Booking.com is +125. Expedia is -165.
Why do the commercials suck now?
They got a lot of commercial ones, man. Look at this. Commercial play first. QuickBooks minus 160. Taco Bell plus 120.
All right. Pepsi or Doritos? Which one's first?
Ooh.
I don't know if they
I'm
have.
gonna say Pepsi. Give me Pepsi.
Oh, here's a good one though, guys.
I'm
Here we
gonna
go.
say Pepsi on that one.
Here we go. Now we're getting to the halftime songs, right? We got a good lineup this year, right? So we'll see how it works out. We'll see if it's good or not. Halftime show. First Dr. Dre song performed. The next episode minus 110. Still Dre plus 125. None But a G Thing plus 325.
Still Dre.
So you think that would be it? Do you think that'd be first? I think it all depends on when Eminem comes into the picture, right? Because if it's like, you know what I mean? Like if it starts out where it depends on how they have it set up and how it's gonna work. But like Still Dre would be like the perfect.
Yeah, you've heard beginning and then have Eminem come out.
You know, to bring him in. Like
and have Eminem come out, probably play Forget About Dre.
And then here's her first Eminem song performed. Lose Yourself plus 175. My Name Is plus 375. The Real Slim Shady plus 225. Without Me plus 750. And Stan plus 900. It's going to be Lose Yourself. I think
it's between Lose Yourself and The Real Slim Shady, but I'll probably say Lose Yourself.
Yeah.
Because that'd be a song that get like the crowd hype.
All right, here we go. Another one. Halftime show. First song performed. California Love plus 200. The next episode plus 375. Family Affair plus 400. None But a G Thing plus 700. And Lose Yourself plus 650. They got a lot of
Kendrick. I think Kendrick.
What's that?
I think they're going to start with Kendrick Lamar. So I wouldn't take any of those. I think they're going to start with Kendrick.
Well, but it'd be the first one between all of those.
Right. Well, they probably have an other.
It's just you're betting on between whatever's in the actual bet, right? So it'd be those. But then here there is one with Kendrick. So this has all of them, right? So it says halftime show, first song performed. Mary J. Blige plus 200, Kendrick Lamar plus 650, Snoop Dogg plus 375, Dre plus 150, and Eminem plus 700.
Ooh,
Kendrick.
Yes, and right, Alex, you're correct.
I think this Kendrick.
Alex, you're correct. The zero would also be even, but it's saying their first score, so they'd have to score, right? So it'd either be a touchdown, a field goal, or a safety. Like they're not. If they're at zero, they haven't scored. So it'd be their first score. That's how that one bet was. So yes, that would be correct, but in the sense of what that bet is, no, because it's their first score, their first actual score, whatever it may be, field goal or touchdown. So, all right, either team wins by exactly 3 points. Yes, plus 265. No, minus 380. For a team to win by 3 points.
Too. Plus you said plus.
Are we losing Brady on this prop stuff? Do we need to get back into this? Brady, are you muted? What are you doing? You were back there. I know what you were doing. You were doing a rehearsal. You were gonna sing California Love for us before we get out of here when we're done.
Yep, I was gonna serenade you before we got off.
Right. Will any part of Eminem's performance be censored? Yes, minus 180. No, plus 135. I don't know. All right.
I guess yes.
Let's get into some of who will be shown first. This is at the national anthem. Stafford minus 120, Burrow minus 110. Man, they got so many prop bets in here.
I might throw money on Stafford.
Yeah.
I just feel like they're going to talk about the trade or something early.
But it's after the national anthem.
No. So it's during, okay. So it says, who will be shown first during the national anthem? Yeah. And there's also they have more props for like Cooper Kupp or Jamar Chase. Cooper Kupp's minus 135. Chase is, plus 105.
So why don't we just contact all the camera guys and say, hey, we're going to put a milli on Matthew Stafford and we'll give you 10%.
And then you know what they'll do? They'll show Joe Burrow first.
Yep.
They don't get any money then.
They bet the opposite. They do.
Yeah. Right?
Yeah,
Right?
that's got to be against the law, right? You can't bet on that stuff if you're like the cameraman.
Yeah. That's like even
Tom's asking. He says, any odds if they talk about Kershaw and Stafford being teammates as little leaguers? Who knows, man?
I can see about that.
Deafness. That's the. Yeah. Have you heard about that? That's the inside joke. Every single time they talk about Matthew Stafford, they talk about Clayton Kershaw and how him and Stafford were teammates. Literally every single Detroit Bears game, at least once or twice comes up. It's literally stupid.
Gotcha. I must have missed all that. Tom, I think you missed when we were talking about your boy Miggy earlier when we were talking the hobby too, just in general about players, good players, cards, etc. All right. Stupidest thing I ever saw or seen even stages. All right. Let's just kind of, we went over some props. We could sit here and talk about them all night. We could get into more specifics on certain things, but I want to kind of talk about the game now, right? And where we feel like the game's going to go, where we feel at the end it's going to be. What kind of game? Is this going to be a high-scoring game? Is this going to be a shootout? Is this going to be a low-scoring game? Is this going to be more of a defensive game? What do you guys think? What are your thoughts going into this? Basically, under a week out.
Points.
So you think there's going to be a lot of points scored?
Yeah.
I think since he's going to be chasing points, so you saw, remember that Kansas City game at the end of the year, right, where the Cincinnati was chasing and Burrow ended up throwing for like 400-something yards and Chase had like 260 yards.
Yep.
I just have a weird feeling that Rams are going to get out front and Burrow is just going to throw the ball like 50 times. Something stupid.
See, and the thing that I'm curious to see is one of the matchups in the game. Does Jalen Ramsey travel with Jamar Chase? Because that's going to be up to Burrow if, one, he's going to test it, and two, if he's not going to, how quick does he go to T. Higgins? How quick does he go? Does the run game with Joe Mixon work? That's going to be what I'm interested to see first and foremost, is where Jalen Ramsey lines up. Is it every down? Are they going to just utilize him by formation? It's one of those interesting chess pieces within the game, how that matchup's going to work. And then the question is how does, if he does line up, how does Cincinnati counter that? Do they line, Chase up in the slot more often than they normally would? That's kind of where I'm looking first, being honest.
I don't know, and we don't know yet. We don't know the game plan. We don't know what McVay's deal is going to be with that. But I think that there's been a lot of talk about the matchup, right? So it's almost pushing to make us believe or think that that's probably how it's going to pan out, how it's going to play. Tom had actually asked on what's the over under. It's a 49.5 total. Rams -4. So 49, almost 50 points. So I think that's a little light too, but maybe you guys disagree with that. Are you guys playing the under on that, or are you playing the over?
My gut said like 27-24 or something like that. So that's right there. So
it's 51. Yeah.
Yep.
I'm saying
I probably say the over too. I can see maybe like around like 49, 52 points in that kind of range. So like just barely hitting over.
Right. Balls, what are you gonna say?
Yeah, I think we're over. We're in a dome. I think we're gonna see those offenses, show out. It's not a dome. It's whatever their stadium is. But
Tom thinks 48 himself. So the question for Tom T was, we should have had Tom T on this episode tonight. He should have joined us tonight because his beloved Matthew Stafford is playing in a Super Bowl this coming weekend. And we could get his takes on his boy, Matthew Stafford. Tom T, are you rooting for your boy or are you not rooting for your boy?
Maybe we should have him on next week, next Monday. Face the music. Either he can celebrate or
hey, see, told you guys. Or
I told you Stafford was going to throw the back-breaking interception.
The only thing I worry about is, and again, I say this and I hope I'm surprised. Like I really do. I hope this is a shootout. I hope there is a lot of points scored. I'm just worried, but again, they've gotten through this whole postseason and they've gotten to the Super Bowl. The Bengals offensive line with this defense, I just think it's a nightmare matchup. But again, we've heard it before. They've gotten past. Have they met this type of defensive line? Have they met this type of defense just in general? What do you guys think? Brady, I know you're like digging into the numbers here, the stats. We got like what the DN's done percentages wise to the notes to the what. Talk to us, man. What are you rolling up down there on the computer?
I'm just trying to see where the Bengals rank in the NFL in regards to sacks allowed.
They got to be high there because shoot,
they're like the top 5 for sure.
Yeah, but the majority you see Burrow like running for his life. Trying to make something happen.
I mean, I think he's been sacked like 17 times.
That's
in
why
the postseason.
That's why I have a weird feeling about like an Aaron Donald MVP and things. Like just even though they'll probably put up a ton of points, and so it'll be usually goes to a quarterback or an offensive player in most cases. Not always. There's been defensive players that have won, but what's the record for sacks? What's the record for sacks in a game for a player in a Super Bowl game? Can we get that pulled up quick?
Yeah.
Is it Richard Dent? I don't know.
Let me see.
Could this be something that leads to something like that, if the line can't keep up with the Rams defensive line and Donald and the boys?
4.
By one player?
LC Greenwood.
Wow. Wow.
What was that?
Yeah, who did he play for? Huh?
Super Bowl 10.
Jeez.
Wow. 4. Is anyone came even close?
There's a bunch of 3s.
Okay. So Donald or somebody would have to get like 4.5 at least, or
Von Miller had 2.5. Coney Ely for the Panthers had 3.
Steelers. Tom's saying Steelers. He played for the Steelers.
I mean, if Donald, let's be realistic though, if he has like 2.5 sacks, a forced fumble,
right?
Then maybe a couple tackles for loss. Maybe.
Here's a question: is Cam Akers going to touch the ball much this game?
He should. Hopefully.
That's the one thing about the first half that I could see the first half it being a lot of feeling out, a lot of Joe Mixon, a lot of Cam Akers.
Yep.
And then the second half, them just saying, what the hell are we doing?
Confident enough in Akers right now?
I mean, if it's not Akers, it's Sony Michel.
I'm worried about him if I'm McVay right now, just from what he did, his performance. I mean, I know you got to go back to him. I know you got to be confident in him. But if I'm McVay, I'm a little worried about his ball protection, keeping the ball. I'm a little worried. That's sitting in the back of my mind. That's eating me at night going, like how much can we hand him the rock? How much can we run the ball with him? Is he going to do something, turning the ball over at the 1 again? Or late in the game, kill the clock and end it. That's things that I think about. That's things that I don't know, man. Like even building lineups for DFS, it's like trying to look at him as a guy that, a possibility but then again, if the confidence is there, which is supposed to be with the coach, and to just go with who your best is, supposed to be the best, and play him and run him and have confidence in him and just ride him, You know, who knows? He could have a great game. We could be talking about him being the MVP after the Super Bowl if the Rams were to win. You know, that could be a thing. That could actually be a thing next week. There's possibilities, right? It's just how much. I just wonder how much McVay is going to have faith in him, confidence in him after what had happened.
All right. So you said it kind of, giving Cam Akers, we're going to do something a little bit different this week, and we're going to actually predict our playmakers for the Super Bowl. Now, I want to put a little bit of, like, no Stafford, no Burrow. It's got to be somebody else. Who are you guys taking for playmaker? Put your name on somebody for the Super Bowl. One person.
Well, I mean, Cup would be a guy, but you know what? I could see somebody like Odell Beckham be that dude this weekend.
Okay.
So you're gonna say OBJ is your guy, Deafness?
I mean, if we're not saying Burrow, if we're not saying, and if I'm siding with the Rams winning, I got to take a Rams player, obviously. I mean, to be the ultimate playmaker in my pool. So as much as I'm sure Cup tears it up, to try to be a little different than where everybody's going to be leaning towards and looking at and towards the field, I would say maybe OBJ. Yeah.
Okay, so OBJ's off the board. Nate, Brady, me, you can't have them.
Okay.
I have mine that I was thinking about before when you sent this in the chat, and I'm going with Jalen Ramsey.
There you go.
My thought process is he's going to limit Chase, not stop Chase, because you're not going to stop. If the Bengals are chasing points, he's going to get some.
Right.
But I think Jalen Ramsey's going to have a big either pass breakup leading to a pick or a big interception himself late in the game, second half. That's my guess.
Nate?
All right. I'm gonna go with one Aaron Donald. I think Aaron Donald with just that offensive line. I think he's gonna at least get a couple sacks on Burrow. Thing is, if the game is like low scoring, like a 17-14, 2017 game, then he would probably have a decent chance of getting the Super Bowl MVP. But yeah, I don't think he's gonna wreak havoc on that old line. So give me Aaron Donald.
Balls?
So I saw actually it got put up on the screen, and my boy Bittner's right on it with me. I'm going T. Higgins this week. I think Brady's going to be right with his playmaker. I think they're going to look the other way, and I think it's going to be Higgins instead of Boyd.
Are you thinking the Bengals win then?
Well, we haven't got to predictions yet, but I'm going to probably go T. Higgins for my playmaker.
Okay, I like it.
I like that.
I guess I just thought we were all thinking the Rams were pulling this out here, but he could still be a playmaker. I mean, as long as he could be the best player on the team, I guess, still be. Doesn't have to be everybody from the same team, even if it's the final game. If they make it, if they do it. So the break says predict the yards, catches, and TDs. So when you're asking that question, the breaks, like, are you meaning like as far as like the receivers we chose, as far as what numbers they specifically are going to put up if they were like receivers like T. Higgins, OBJ? Is that what you're referring to? I'm just trying to make sure we got the question correct so we can answer it appropriately. I mean, if it's OBJ for me, I'm saying probably I'll say 7-8 catches, 118 yards, and a TD. What do you think on Higgins?
I was going to say 6 for about 98 and a TD.
Yeah, it's good. I think we got him answered. How many sacks on Donald?
The first number that came to mind was 2.5. So I'll probably say 2.5 sacks. I'll probably say 2 tackles for loss and actually no, I'm gonna go 3 tackles for loss and then maybe a forced fumble.
Okay. Brady? Ramsey, what's he gonna do out there?
Yeah, how many catches does Jamar
Against that-
Chase have then?
Or yeah. What does Jamar do against Ramsey?
Muted.
Huh? You're muted.
Oh, you're muted, buddy.
In the game or on Ramsey? Because he won't line up with them the entire time. They've already come out and said that they'll be strategic and put
We'll
Ramsey in a
just
good
say
spot.
matchup against Ramsey, basically. So
I'll go 4 catches, 51 yards against Ramsey. No, I don't disagree. If the Bengals are gonna be competitive, I bet he has 8 or 9 catches for 100 and a touchdown. But my guess is that comes from somewhere else specifically.
okay. So the break says he's got Chase as possible MVP, 9 catches, 155 yards, and 2 TDs.
Sheesh.
It's gonna be. Hey, they're gonna need it. I'm telling you. If
Yeah.
they're gonna be. I'm telling you right now, they're gonna be chasing points. So that's my guess, and it's gonna come down to can Joe and Chase do what they did Kansas City Week 17. Go chase them.
Right. Chase the Burrows.
Chase the Burrows.
Chase the Burrows. All right. Anything else you want to add to before we do our game predictions and all that? Anything else you guys want to throw out before we do our, I guess, the win, the total, etc., the score, and then from there we'll do the questions, comments from last week, and we'll probably be at about 2 hours, like we kind of figured. So let's start. Let's go opposite. Let's start with Nate this time. Let's go. What do you think on score? And who's winning?
All right, so I guess we can kind of go off the spread. So the spread is
49.5.
4.
Yeah, Rams by 4.
So I'm gonna go. So if we're talking spread wise, I'm gonna take the Bengals +4, but I had the Rams winning 26-23. I think maybe like a last second field goal is gonna win the game. I think Stafford finally gets it done. Finally get a ring for him, for Donald, for Ramsey, and yeah. But it's gonna be I think I agree with Brady. I think it's gonna be like a much better game towards the end. And the Bengals are gonna be a comeback, and then I just think the Rams probably get like a last second field goal, win the game.
All right, Brady.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go 34-27.
Close to where I'm at. Close.
I think Joe gets a chance at the end and throws a pick. That's my guess.
Ooh.
He gets the ball. He gets the ball down 7 and then some sort of turnover. Probably pick. My guess.
And doesn't walk out in cool shades this time.
No, too much pressure defensively from that line.
No ice on his neck with the J-Mo or whatever. The J-Mo, is that what it says? J-Mo, or what's his chain? I don't remember. It's something. It's in the thumbnail. I think, well, maybe it's not. Balls, where are you at, buddy?
30-27. Give me Joe Shiesty. I'm taking the Bengals. Everybody keeps saying they need to lose. They're playing good football. Even though he's getting hit, they're winning. There's something about that quarterback right now. I'm taking Cincinnati 30-27.
We got 2 other in here. We got this to breaks. You know what? But I wonder how many of these guys, like even Tom, right? How many of you guys are influenced? And I don't think Balls is, because Balls isn't like big on maybe he's sitting on a bunch of Joe Burrow crazy rookies or something we don't know about. But I think there's too many people that I hear about, and I don't know if it's anyone specific, but a lot of times what I'm hearing from people is, well, I want to see Burrow win because I want to see his cards. I want to see the value go up. I want to see what it means. I'm not saying you, Balls. I'm bringing this up because I see it a lot, like around the hobby, like with the talk. Nate's shaking his head. He sees it. Like, because a lot of people feel like he's already transitioning or turning into like the Patty Mahomes or the next, like that Mahomes, like where he's kind of going to or leading to. And, even Brady touched on it perfectly. We talked about it earlier today. If you're looking at that on a hobby side, right? Like, sure, he wins the Super Bowl. His value is going to go up some, but then you're going to get it 30% discounted, 5 months after the Super Bowl is over when it drops. You're just going to pay inflated prices if you're buying, unless you take advantage and sell as it's on the up, make some money off it. I mean, if you're looking at it on a business standpoint, I guess I just hope that people aren't as influenced on that for that specific reason. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying Balls. I'm not saying you are. I know you like to go against the grain with the panel. That's just you.
Speaking for me and Tom T, we're just gonna go with the better quarterback in this game.
Gotcha. We'll see if he can play as many years as Stafford has and put up the numbers he put up. We'll see. We'll see.
I got your back, Tom T.
We'll talk about it. Yeah. Just another guy like Tom T, a guy who plays years for his team. He never has any support, and he goes and he does something you can't cheer for him. Yikers. Gets my blood boiling. Anyway, I'm going to go 31-24. Rams, 55-point total. Burrow's going to make some things happen for sure. He will. He has all postseason. But this defense is going to be just too much. This is the defense that Stafford has been looking for in his whole career. And like I said, beginning of the season, he was on every one of my season-long fantasy teams that I could pick him, that he was available. And I stacked him with Kupp as much as I could. And I talked about it throughout the whole year. I talked about it. I said, Stafford's got the team. He's got the team. He's got a defense behind him. He won't do it. Stafford can't get there. He always busts. He can't win big games. He can't ever get there. He's never had the defense. He has the defense now, and I just think it's going to be too much. I think Aaron Donald's just going to be in Burrow's face too much. He took a beating the last couple games. It's going to be a much worse beating, I think, in the Super Bowl. He'll still make plays. He'll still get things done, but I don't see it. I don't see it. I'm happy they're there over the Chiefs. Can't stand the Chiefs personally. I mean, I'm a fan. Patty Mahomes is a great quarterback. I'm always a fan of playmakers, right? Aaron Rodgers. Wait, I'm a Packer fan though. And all the rest. So wink, wink. But that's what I got. 31-24. The defense is going to be too much. They're not going to be able to keep up with Rams offense, and the defense is going to shut them down enough to keep the leads. So that's what I got. Alex has got Caffers there. He's going to throw a pick a game. Yeah, he might throw a pick. But again, he's in the Super Bowl. Regardless of if he throws a pick or not, Burrow will probably throw a pick too. Ramsey will probably pick him. But that won't be the talk, right? So, all right. Let's get into the that's what you always got to love. People will point one way but not the other. All right. Michael Weber. We'll start with his first. I don't have to share these, I guess. He says, awesome podcast. I live in Detroit area and grew up with Stafford as our QB, so watching him finally get the credit he deserves is awesome. That's a fan right there. I hope he can beat the 49ers and get rid of the Rams losing streak. This was because we're 2 weeks early. So, yeah, he did get there. We appreciate you, man. We appreciate you watching. Brady's question is, what is your biggest hobby fail? What did you learn from the situation? So what's your guys' biggest hobby fail?
Well, if I go with a particular player and it's still kind of up in the air, I'm sitting on a gold mine of Mitch Trubisky's right now. I've got a ton of Mitch. But other than that, for the longest time, man, I bought into Razzes, and Razzes are very hit and miss, just like anything. But I didn't understand the way to buy into a Raz. I think there's different ways that you can buy in. Deafness taught me with his breaks back in the day. Whenever he was joining breaks, it was usually divisions back in the day. He'd buy 3 to 4 divisions, and a lot of times he'd sweep a box. When you're razzing and buying one, you're just usually donating your money. And I did that for a lot of times. I got out of razzes. I rather just buy it outright now. So I don't know. I lost a lot of money in Razes to begin with, so that's probably one of my bigger hobby fails.
Nate?
I guess for me, probably I did have like a Josh Allen auto that I probably sold a little too early because I'm not gonna hold y'all. Like I wasn't really the biggest Josh Allen fan to begin with. I thought it was kind of like more like a Joe Flacco kind of thing, big arm, not really that accurate kind of guy. But obviously, put me wrong. So yeah, that's probably my biggest hobby fail.
I would say mine. I mean, I've had a lot of stuff throughout the years, a lot of things that like all of us, we jump the gun too soon, or we just whatever. And I keep forgetting to ask my buddy David if he still even has the card because I sold it to him. But I had a 2017 Patrick Mahomes Spectra RPA to 20. It had like the actual nameplate. I'm sure Balls remembers it. It had like an actual nameplate. I'm pretty sure Ed from the break room pulled it for me in a break. Yeah, I mean, to have that card right now that I think I sold for, I don't know, $75 or $100, something like that. Probably 7-8 grand right now. Probably easily, if you graded it, probably more than that. Probably closer to 10, 11, depending upon the grade. I would say that's one of the bigger ones. I mean, I've had a lot of cool cards that I've kind of had and got rid of, as fails. Brady, what's yours?
Buying into the hype of Project 2020 from Topps. I bought a couple of those early Trouts at probably triple of what they're worth now.
Yeah.
So I think I got them for like $125, $130 a piece, thinking that they'd go up. And they obviously are now like $30 cards. So it was one of those early lessons of buy stuff you like, not just because of the hype.
Right. Exactly.
Because now, right, they're sitting in a box. I don't even care about them. They're not.
Right.
I have way cooler cards that I care way more about as opposed to these aftermarket produced stuff by Topps that I don't really care about. So
like even a lot of breakers, like I see a lot of breakers. Like one of my guys I like to watch every once in a while on Twitch when I flip over to the Twitch app is Bamf Breakers. And like he uses those like as like like on the hit list, like when people go hitless or whatever, he'll have a whole box, like a whole loaded box of them, and you can't see, and they'll pick number or whatever, the ones that don't get a team, whatever, and he'll use those as like hitless cards and stuff. So yeah, I can totally agree and feel you there on that. Jim F says, a second question, as I realized there was only one playmaker before the LA Clash NASCAR non-points race in the LA Coliseum on a quarter-mile track. Who are you picking to win that expedition race? If you follow NASCAR at all, I'm going with one of two, Kyle Busch or Denny Hamlin. Obviously, that already happened because we took last week off. We do apologize. But, yeah, I guess we'll just kind of – he's got other questions. So
it was ugly.
Yeah.
It was an ugly race.
Yeah. I mean, like, I know a lot of people saying, the race was a joke and things like that, but I'm like, it was an exhibition race. It was something new. Like, they normally race at Daytona, so it was like kind of like a change of pace, go LA, new track, new environment. So, I mean, overall, I think like marketing wise, it was a good decision, but yeah, the racing towards the end, it was like too many guys were kind of like, go like pretty much deep into the corners. It was like a bunch of cautions at the end. Yeah, it was ugly racing towards the end, but
yeah.
I can't see why NASCAR did though, because they want to try to get to like more different like younger generation.
Yeah, they want to broaden their audience.
Yeah,
exactly. Yep.
So,
no, I get it. Yep. All right. As Pat's request, this is our boy Joe Mansman. He says, as Matt's request, my picks for the Super Bowl are Bengals versus Rams. I want to see different teams in it. Again, because we're a week behind, kind of, because we didn't do last week. Shaw Racing Collect says, hello, gentlemen. and I use that loosely. I am so glad I didn't win these, but that's enough. LOL. What an upset weekend, but wow, all of the underdogs winning. Wow, I'm going to go Bengals and 49ers. Great stream as always, guys. Lots of good insights and great times. So we appreciate it. Yeah. Again, we're kind of behind, so some of this stuff is relaying to the last football games. Great podcast. Keep up the great work. That was your boy Balls, Adam. The Bull Nate says, how do y'all feel about Bears replacing Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy with Ryan Poles and Matt Eberfluss?
I don't have an opinion until I see what they do. I've heard good things from their former bosses, but they're not going to come out and trash talk former employees. So,
right.
I'm just kind of waiting. Some of the hires have been good in regards to the offensive coordinator and the quarterbacks coach in regards to Justin Fields, but they have a lot to do this offseason before anybody buys into them, especially with ownership not changing and George McCaskey not leaving. So skepticism, I guess, would be the best word. I'm skeptical.
Anything on that? Nothing.
Same, man.
Okay, cool. Balls says, did Jim Harbaugh make a mistake by attempting to make the jump back to the NFL ?
I mean, like, it wasn't really a mistake. He just kind of, touched the water, dipped his toe in the water.
I think he got cold feet.
Yeah.
Right? We don't really even know yet. Like, does anybody really know what took place? Because all the reports is him, like, deciding to actually fly out here that Wednesday and whatever. Everybody from any beat writer up and whatever was like, if he's offered the job, he's taking it, right? Like that's the reports were. There was not anybody like, oh, it's kind of, we don't really know, blah blah blah. It was like he's flying out there. If he's offered it, he's taking it. And it just seemed like, and it drug on. We didn't hear anything until what, 6, 7 o'clock on Wednesday.
Yep.
So like there was a lot of probably him thinking and a lot of whatever. What am I going to do? What's going to happen here? What's going to take place?
See, and I maybe should have worded the question better, and it's more towards Brady's side of things. Now that he's coming back to Michigan, they lost their defensive coordinator to the NFL. Their offensive coordinator just left to go to the University of Miami instead, and one of his things was said, go somewhere, like he told the players, go somewhere where you're respected, I think was the report out there. So it sounds like towards the end, him and Harbaugh weren't on good terms. And a lot of the guys were kind of caught off guard, it sounds like, a little bit by it. What have you heard, Brady, on it?
So the only thing that I think was concerning about Jim leaving, it wasn't Harbaugh and Josh Gaddis. It was when Jim decided he was going to interview, names started coming up about who should replace him. And one of the two names that came up internally was Josh Gaddis, right? He was the nation's top assistant last year. He was with Alabama as their offensive coordinator, with Michigan as their offensive coordinator. And I think that kind of brought the curtain back about some of the administration not liking Gaddis. And because those conversations were now being had about who should be the next coach, and you probably had boosters, administrators, whatever, speaking up saying, we don't want Josh Gaddis, something that would have never come to light because it would not have been a conversation now had to be brought to light because it was a conversation that Jim had, that Jim made happen because he is interested in the NFL. So I don't think it was anything with Jim, but obviously you don't want the number one assistant in the entire country who's revamped the offense to leave and have negative things to say after he left. That's not good for Michigan. But I think it's fine for Jim came out and said that he said this is a one-time thing. I wonder if he just kind of went back into the NFL process and kind of realized maybe I don't want to get back into this.
And Brady, like I had kind of mentioned too, like that night in our chat, right? There was a lot of like local Minnesota reports stating like, and you had questioned this, but it had been stating that if Harbaugh comes to the NFL, he doesn't want any control of the 53-man roster, any of that. He specifically, strictly just wants to coach, period.
Right.
So I haven't found anything different or whatever, but my wondering is, with such a young general manager, GM now on board and whatnot, were they wanting him to have more control when the offer was on the table when he came out here? Was this kind of a stretched out thing?
That was that was more just me clarifying. Was it like
Right.
he specifically was offered control and he said no? Or was he just saying,
I don't know specifically, but the Minnesota beat writers and everybody were saying this and stating this up to even right before Wednesday, before he even came out here, like that he's been very vocal about where he kind of wants to be if he lands or takes a job. So, what I'm wondering is, did they want him to have more control, and that's maybe then what turned him off and kind of changed his route in his thinking of, okay, maybe I wanted this job and now maybe I don't really, because, they're wanting this stuff that I don't want.
That, and we don't know his price tag either.
Right.
Maybe it was a number that they weren't comfortable with and just said, nah, not now. So,
and to be fair to Jim, he can kind of say that, right? Because he can say, I'm not going back to the NFL, but if he puts his name back out there, Miami was interested. The Raiders were interested at some point, but they didn't really do anything because he said he wasn't coming back. So
the Bears did call him.
Right. Yep. Which the thing that doesn't make sense to me is, and this is no disrespect to the Vikings deafness, I just don't understand the Vikings in general as like Jim Harbaugh is like, this is my return to the NFL. I want 35-year-old Kirk Cousins. And
well, all the pieces are pretty much there. I mean,
right.
Defense, you got tons of superstar offensive prospects. Kirk Cousins is about on his way out. You got a new GM who you don't know what he's going to do. There's a lot of talks already of Kurt probably not being around and them either going and getting somebody different or doing something. There's been the Trey Lance talks. There's been the Baker Mayfield talks. There's been a lot of different talks.
Did you hear the news that came out today?
What?
Kyler Murray has removed all Cardinals association from all of his social media.
Yeah, I mean, so you don't know, and you don't know what's going to happen, but that's just that can be whatever. He could just be trying to ghost people and just do weird things. We've seen that before too, when players hadn't changed anything of when them being on a different team, but people bring it up and point it out. I mean, it's interesting if that's really what he did, but like what I'm saying is, I don't think Kurt's going to be around much longer anyway.
I'm not upset that he's returning. I think his time at Michigan right now, I would give it an incomplete status, right? It was multiple years of disappointment, and now you're here and you think you've taken the next step. This year will be a big year for what his legacy at Michigan is going to be.
I think I'm happy with O'Connell, though. I mean, to be honest with you, like offensive coordinator with an offense, getting him to a Super Bowl, jumping into another offense full of weapons with a defense behind him. Hell, I'll take it, man. Let's see what happens. Let's go. I'm down.
What other questions do we have?
All right. A-Rod to AZ. I think Rodgers probably ends up in Pittsburgh if he leaves. I think we were talking about that Denver or Pittsburgh is, I think, what a lot of us were thinking if he leaves. The Boul Nate, our boy Nate says Andrew Wiggins is an all-star starter. Thoughts? ? Yeah, this is very, very interesting. He's been playing great. Don't get me wrong. With Klay Thompson pretty much on the bench, with Draymond Green out a lot of the games, with Wiseman not there. I mean, I know he's playing with Curry. I get that. The best shooter in the league. But he's kind of that second man on the team, or he's supposed to be. He's kind of a more veteran player. There's a lot of young talent on that team. There's a lot of guys like Boul and Kumanga. Kumanga? Is that how you pronounce it? Kumanga? What's his name?
I think it's pronounced Kuminga. I think
Kuminga. Yeah.
Yep.
I mean, there's a lot of young talent, a lot of great talent on that team. But what is he averaging? 14 points, 18 points,
18.
Like 4 assists or 4 rebounds or something. I think that's just again, we talk about players, we talk about people getting into these all-star games, Pro Bowls, etc. A lot of it's voter based, right? So, again, you got a team like, Golden State, a California team, is gonna have a lot more votes just in general within just its own state for players like that.
I will say he's shooting the ball
Dylan
decent.
Caruso used to be like the number one guy a year or two ago, wasn't he? When he was on Lakers, Alex Caruso, he was like one of the top leading all-star vote getters like last year, I think.
Well, I will say Wiggins is tied for 39th in scoring in the NBA.
39th?
39th.
Yeah, that's not. So how does that equal all-star?
How does it equal all-star starter?
Exactly. That's
one
what
of the
Nate's
top 10
was.
Players in the NBA. Yeah, right.
Right. Exactly. That's where we're going with it. Yeah, that's what Nate's question on that was. Balls, you good? Or are you good on that? Good. All right. What does the MLB need? This is from Cody, your boy Cody. Balls. What does the MLB need to do to make up ground on the other major sports?
Ooh.
Understand that it can't make up ground on the other major sports.
Any ideas, Balls?
They've got young players. They've got to find a way to market it. And one of the ways you can allow people to market it is on Twitter. The NBA has taken a completely different approach than the MLB has. The MLB, if you put up a home run video, they're going to take it down. They're going to find you and they're going to strike it. Where the NBA encourages you to put up those videos because it just shares their sport.
Right.
So baseball needs to move out of it. It often gets called an old curmudgeon-y white man sport a lot of times because it's like a lot of the old established traditional ways are still in it. And they need to get rid of some of those things. Like quit worrying about allowing just your social media to distribute it. People, let them share your game and grow the game that way. And that's kind of where that same argument comes in with the Hall of Fame. They're not listening to what their fans are telling them when it comes to Hall of Fame voting. Listen to your fans once in a while. And that's where baseball's one of their biggest issues is right now, I think.
I gotcha. Yeah.
I do think there's an untapped international market in regards to baseball too, that the NBA is taking advantage of.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And I think we're starting to see it with them. They needed their star, right? For a while it was Ichiro, but they have that in Ohtani. I think he's becoming the face, and I think they're kind of moving towards an international market. I mean, you look around the MLB and there's so many guys from Central America, and you start seeing some of these Japanese and players coming over. And I think that's where the growth has to be, because right now the American market is so dominated by the other sports. It's just hard. And that, I know I was joking when I said that you're never going to be able to replicate what the NFL and the NBA does. All you can do is hopefully bring back people who love the game of baseball but aren't willing to sit there for 3.5 hours. The casual fans, right? For me, I'm going to watch all the Cubs games. I love watching baseball. I love throwing it on and just doing whatever. It's these casual fans that are not going to be tuning in, or maybe they only tune in.
It's too slow, or
maybe they only tune in on the big events, right? I mean, to be honest, when you talk about the high leverage games, MLB playoffs is up there with some of these, not the Super Bowl because that's a different animal, but if you look at the MLB playoffs compared to the NBA, some of those things, MLB playoffs is electric. A lot of people tune in for those games, just like similar to the NHL. You say a lot of fans that don't watch the NHL until it comes to playoff hockey, because it's a different atmosphere, right?
Right.
So how do you get some of those people to buy into the rest of the season? And part of it is you can't. It's 162 games. Nobody's going to be watching 162 games. The average fan just can't do that, right? So there are limitations, but there are things, obviously, that Major League Baseball needs to continue to do.
All right. The other thing, too, you talk about, like, not sharing. Like, the whole copyright music stuff, too, like with people on videos and stuff. Why don't artists just – I know they want to get their money for it, but just let it be promoted. Why can't we promote your music on videos and stuff like that without you copyrighting and wanting all sorts of money and stuff for it. All right, so Jim F says, with Green Bay being eliminated from the playoffs, what would each of you think if Rodgers signed with your team next year as either a starting quarterback or as an instructor QB?
Well, he's not going to be an instructor.
No.
Else.
No.
I would not be happy.
Okay. Nate?
I mean, we make the Eagles better team, yes, but I think we got some other issues that we gotta probably turn up on the team. So yeah, I'd be like, cool, but I don't think we're still far away from a Super Bowl team right now.
The only reason I would love it is just to piss off Packer fans. Pull an old Favre.
Well, I kind of agree with Nate though, right? And the reason I said I would hate it was because the Bears would then enter we need to sacrifice future assets to win now mode again.
Yep.
And I'm sick of them doing that. I'm sick of it. I'm sick of investing $75 million in Khalil Mack the next 3 years now that he's over the hump, trading away the last 3 first-round picks. Like it's just a lot. And eventually you need to tear it down and build it back up the right way.
Mm-hmm.
And, sinking money into Aaron Rodgers and then being forced to try to improve the roster by throwing money at it again or giving up draft picks again to try to have a 2-year window with Aaron. Like it's just not worth it for me. There are teams that are closer, ready to do it. So I'm sure if we were a fan of Denver or Pittsburgh or somebody like that, yeah, sign me up. But I think Philly's similar. I think they probably would think Aaron's not the missing piece in a roster like that.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're not willing to mortgage your entire future for a year or 2 window for him.
No, you're not.
Right.
So,
all right. We kind of touched on this. We've touched on this a lot with the whole overtime crap. Your pops says, does the NFL need an overtime format change? ? I don't know. Do we need to dive into this again? We've kind of covered this a lot. We've talked about it a lot. We know where Ball's stance is on it. The Bengals finally changed that about a 0.2%, I think, or 4% or whatever. I think it's what? Yep. Now it's 88.6 or something. All right. What is the hottest baseball card? This is a good one from your pops. What is the hottest baseball card going into 2022? This is from your pops as well. That's a good question. What do you guys think is the hottest card going into 2022 into this year? What is the card that a player, a first or a super fractor or just a rookie card, like a nice rookie card that you guys think stands or holds to be kind of one that's out there?
I've said it before. Bobby Witt, first Bowman.
Okay.
Whatever you can afford specifically. There are going to be people who can afford, spend $1,500 on his first auto. There's going to be people that just want a $20 for, or actually I think his first Bowman Chromes are up to $30, $35. You can get a Mojo for $60, but I think he's the real deal. And I think there's even growth still. I know you're probably a little late into the game, but there's still growth here before he pops up. But
I've seen a lot of Series 1. So you're seeing a lot of Series 1 Wanda Franco, his actual rookie card with the
that'll be coming out this year.
Yeah,
it'll be interesting to see his autos because his autos have been obviously just his first Bowman, obviously, and then a couple other Bowman products. It's interesting because when players start hitting their rookie years, they get thrown in every product you can imagine. And then all of a sudden their autograph becomes less valuable because there's 37 bajillion of them out there. So,
yeah. No, I like it. Yep. Yeah, Series 1. All right. And then Balls, how to improve in Pro Bowl. We talked about that. We touched a lot on the Pro Bowl. Joe Mann says, Big Ben retires. Your thoughts on his career? This is actually a decent question. Just a quick. Anybody want to touch on their thoughts on just his career in general, as a quarterback in the NFL?
He almost needs to come back another year so he doesn't retire the same year Brady does.
Right.
Because otherwise, here's Big Ben. Congrats. Like,
Yeah. Oh,
and
Brady.
here's the greatest quarterback to ever
Brady,
play the
here,
game.
give me another hug. Hey, everybody. It's like a meme where they got Big Ben standing there and Tom Brady, and everybody's huddled around Brady, and Big Ben's just standing there going, "Hey guys, I'm over here. Hey, hi, my name's Big Ben. Hey guys, hey, I played for the
two
Steelers
Super
in
Bowls.
the NFL."
Yeah.
Oh, what?
I said 2 Super Bowl champion right here. Like,
Yeah, Super Bowl champ, right? Played many
Yep.
seasons. I went like 15-0 as a starting quarterback. You guys remember? Hey, yeah, Steelers, Pittsburgh. You know where Pittsburgh is? Yeah, I used to play quarterback there. Yeah, just retired.
I have 4 words to describe Big Ben's career. 2 years too long. He's a great quarterback. Obviously, played really well with the Steelers.
Dude
obviously.
could barely move though these last couple of years.
These last 2 years have just been
Like the
brutal.
pics of his ice, like his ice packs, like the images. Like if you look him up, and he's got like big icings wrapped around his knees, and his shoulders are both just big ice packs. Just looks like a dude that went through a war, like just a battle. So
That
anyway,
dang walking boot that he had every Monday, man.
The
That
what?
poor thing is not going to be used probably anymore.
all right. Okay, guys, you can only pick one. Who do you pick? Deebo Samuel or Cooper Kupp? That's a good question. Joe Mans.
That's a good question.
Cooper Kupp or Deebo? Who are you taking? Just in general. Let's not talk about one's in the Super Bowl now and one didn't. One almost made it, just barely missed. Just in general as a player, who do you take?
Debo.
I will Cooper Kupp.
Yeah, I'm gonna go Cup too.
Cup.
I don't know, man. I think it's just so close. I think their ceilings are about similar. And I would say that if Deebo wasn't utilized as much in the run game, like as being able to be that kind of all-purpose, like running back / receiver / slot / do it all, I would say maybe Kupp would have I would look at Kupp a little bit higher. But with his ability and what he can do, I mean, the guy literally could be a running back. Like he could honestly be an NFL running back. And he lines up majority of the time as a receiver. So, Aaron Jones like is a similar guy where if Aaron Jones is a little bit taller, he could be like almost a receiver in the NFL. I mean, you guys remember the game like when they played and they didn't have Devontae Adams and they had no receivers and they slotted out Aaron Jones like half the game. He was playing like sliding out as like a receiver and they had AJ Dillon in the backfield. Like those two to me, similar. I think Deebo is a little more explosive, obviously, just has a little bit more jazz to him. But I would say it's very, very close for me. Again, if Deebo didn't have that running back versatility, I would take Kupp over him all day. But I think it's almost neck and neck. I mean, that's kind of where I'm going to stand on it. KC versus LA. Will Mahomes get his second ring? No, not there. We're a little late. Snar U78. We love you, buddy. We know this is a little behind. We're behind. So, Ball says baseball no longer testing steroid shots. We talked about that. Joe Mans, Baseball Hall of Fame. A lot of talk about Bonds not making. I say good. He used roids. If he don't cut his homers and if he sorry, I don't have my glasses on. Not making. I say good. He used roids if he don't cut his homers in half. So
okay. No, I'm willing to do that. Let's get rid of all of his home runs, and he's still a Hall of Famer, without a doubt. You want to get rid of his home runs from when he started in 1998 until 2007? That's fine. He's still a first ballot Hall of Famer.
Doesn't it blow your guys' minds on some of these guys that like? Not all. I'm not saying everybody, but doesn't it blow your mind looking at some of these ballots these years as like who is and like why? Like I don't understand it. Like there's so and it's just looking at numbers, like everything, what they've done, statistics, everything. I'm not saying on a biased base or a hey, just how I see things, like just as they look at everything, as they look at all the numbers and they integrate everything. Like how some of these guys get in these ballots and then sometimes they're like first ballot, second ballot. It's crazy. It's like, I don't know. it's kind of like WAR, right? Like WAR is a stat, but to a lot of people in baseball, like WAR really isn't. It just has too many different weird factors involved, and some people say nonsense factors, if you will, within the other things that kind of calculate the whole thing.
Jim, you bring up a good point, and that the point is that the Hall of Fame committee has 0 standards set.
Right.
There's no standards, right? Big Papi did fail a test. I do think it was because Big Papi was likable, and
Timmy, what's up, buddy?
People also kind of felt with him afterwards when he got shot. Remember, he got shot in the Dominican Republic, that whole scenario. But there's racists, there's sexists, there's drug users, all in the Hall of Fame. But we're gonna draw the line at guys who used roids allegedly and never tested positive. It's just stupid to me.
Yep. No, I get it, man. That's a very good point. Jim says WAR is good to $3.99 Topps cards. Justice for Andrew Jones. Yeah, I mean, seriously. All right, last comment. Comment on Jeremy Pena and his 2022 impact. That's your dad.
Yeah, he's talking about replacing Correa, probably. I mean, he's a good prospect. Obviously has not done much in regards to – I don't think he has any time in the majors right now.
I know Balls is already cashed out here. He's just hanging on here.
I just don't know who he is.
I don't either.
He's a top 100 prospect for Houston, and obviously Correa is a free agent, so they need somebody to fill that. But
I mean, baseball's got to get out of the lockout first, because then there's going to be once they get out of the lockout, there's going to be a bunch of player transactions that.
Yes, Anthony Rizzo to the Chicago Cubs. That's what's happening.
It's possible, It's definitely possible.
Balls, did you look at that fight card at all yet? For this weekend?
All I know is the main event. I haven't really looked too hard at the card yet.
Guess who else is fighting? Derek Lewis and Taya Tuizavai. The guy that does the shoeies when the Nelk boys are there. He takes Steve Will do it. Shoey throws it up to him, and then he happy dad, and he drinks it out of his shoe. Does a shoey, and then everybody pours their beer like as he's walking through the tunnel and grab. He's crazy. Dude's a knockout artist, though.
Derek Lewis looked good his last fight.
Yeah, no, that'll be a fun, interesting fight. Jared Conner and Derek Brunson. Tyler Phillips and Marcelo Rojo and Bobby Green and Nasrat.
Oh, Bobby Green's on this card too?
Bobby Green's on the main one. Yeah, main card. So just a little scene with the prelims. Oh my gosh, they got the pit bull Arlovsky on the prelims. Jared, doesn't he like 52 now? It's a little too old.
That man's old.
So anyway, all right. You guys got anything else to wrap up? The Freddie deal already inked for Atlanta. Just can't announce. Possibly. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. You guys heard that?
Who's that?
Freddie Freeman.
Freddie Freeman.
Cody's saying Freddie Freeman deal already inked, but they can't announce. Huh?
It's going to be one of those things where the second this deal, you're going to hear every single team has already had stuff in place with these guys for like 2 months.
Right.
Yep. You're going to see like 100 deals inked the first day that the collective bargaining agreement gets signed.
Right. Yep. Jim says the lockout allows the A's to keep Olsen a bit longer. Matty Olsen. Yeah. The dude's got the what's that RBA Kings? His bat stance is just crazy, but he somehow makes it happen. You guys know what I'm talking about, right? Have you guys ever like checked it out or watched him bat? It's just weird. Yeah. It's like so weird how he can do what he does. It's like a game, like a video game. Shout out to Timmy. Tim, if you guys are all in here, Timmy's Pulls. Good to see you. Thanks for stopping in as well. We appreciate you. He says wishful thinking. It's already done. All right, you guys got anything to add? I know we're like in Playmaker overtime here, big time, like 2:15 or better. I think we had a great show. But, if you guys got nothing else, we'll be back. We're gonna plan to we're gonna talk about it as a group. Maybe look at a different day as far as doing this weekly, just because Mondays get at least tough for me. I don't know about the other guys, even though we can make it work. We just feel like there might be better timing in a better day or something that might work better just for everybody. And more people might want to join in with us. Like there might be better options, but we'll let you know if there's any change. We do appreciate you guys hanging out with us as always. Make sure, can't believe Eric Bieniemy didn't get a coaching job yet. Yeah, I'm kind of shocked actually on that. Before we just say goodbyes, what are your guys' thoughts on that real quick as he says that? Because I agree. I'm surprised he actually doesn't have a coaching job. I mean, has he even been interviewing at all? I haven't heard of him being interviewed. Has he?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Who
he
did
interviewed
interview with?
He interviewed in New Orleans for their job. I think if Bieniemy was smart, he'd stay right where he is because I don't think Andy Reid's going to coach. I mean, he can coach quite a bit longer, but
he takes over KC maybe when Andy Reid decides he's had.
I mean, you're sitting on Patrick Mahomes as your quarterback.
Right.
Otherwise, like if he'd have took the New Orleans job, there's $72 million in cap trouble right now. They don't have a quarterback on their roster that's worth a damn. Does he want to go to that? It depends if he can wait out Andy Reid, maybe. Maybe we heard about, when Belichick left that McDaniels was supposed to be that coach in waiting. Maybe Kansas City has that where they wouldn't have to change too much. It would just transition and they could keep running the same type of.
It's actually a good point. I could see that if he's close, if Andy Reid's close to being done, How old is Reid?
Old.
Oh, yeah.
I think he's like 67.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got to be getting close.
63.
Yeah, I mean.
Man, you might be right on. Like,
63, but he's a little overweight, so we'll see how his health does.
Right. Wow, taking shots. Brady with the shots. Here's Brady. Here's Brady's idea of a coach. Ready? Ready? Let me get my glasses on.
You're not wearing khakis.
Yeah, I gotta have my khakis on. Balls just left. He's got the Harbaugh look, baby. Like
the only thing I will say with Bieniemy is a lot of these guys that are coordinators, a lot rides on their first head coaching gig. I would not go to the Saints if I was him. That's a horrid situation, which is why they hired from within because they already have somebody who's there. And then I'm not sure I'm going to the Texans either. So, because you got to deal with the whole Deshaun Watson mess and all that crap, dude. I wouldn't want to be a part of having to deal with that either. And that's another thing. Like, is something going to do we think something gets straightened out with that and he's going to be somewhere? And if so, where would he be? Where would he go? Is someone going to take a shot with him? You know what I mean? Like, but I think, in Timmy's poll, you say it correct. His resume is more than qualified, but I think like Balls kind of said, like Andy Reid has got to be getting close, man. Like how much longer is he going to coach? Like what's the oldest coach out there? So Belichick's 70.
Yep.
Yeah, Pete Carroll's old too.
Yep.
But can he go do we think Andy Reid can go another 7 years coaching? Like just in general, do we?
I'll be that.
I'm done. I'm out of this.
Brady doesn't think he's gonna make it 7 months.
Yeah, Brady's like he's gonna have a heart attack like tomorrow.
Nothing wrong with promoting some health, guys. Stay healthy.
But I honestly, a couple more years. I don't know. I think Balls has it right though. Like that would be the perfect thing. Why couldn't Andy Reid just be like, you know what? I'm kind of to that point now, maybe another year or so, and then hey, Eric, or tell the organization like he needs to take this organization over. So, all right, looks like we're starting to lose people. I don't know if we're just too much comedy at the end of the show or what, but guys, we appreciate you, Tim. If you guys are both out there watching, shout out to you guys, man. Again, my condolences to you and your family. It's just awful what happened. I wouldn't even know what to do with myself, to be honest with you, if I was in that situation. So, but keep you guys' head ups. just as always, just remember the good times, the memories you had. And until next time, guys, get those questions, comments, topics out, and we'll see you next time. Peace and love. Later, gang.